Show, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at One Mic Show. We are also taking live calls tonight. The number is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. I'll repeat that again. The number to call in tonight is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Now, in recent times, poor media habits have facilitated the spread of misinformation, false news, and opinions guised as facts. This phenomenon has unfortunately shaped how many see the world, including where they spend, how they make health choices, and how they vote. Wambui Kamau, a journalist on Baltimore's NPR station YPR, joins us tonight to break down media literacy as a critical survival skill for African immigrant communities in the U.S. She'll open up about her battle with fibroids and the silent medical conditions that are stealing women's health and reproductive choices. So start dropping your comments below with any questions you have, and please tell us where you're tuned in from. I can see Washeke is saying she's tuned in from Irkutsk, Siberia. I don't know where that is, but she's tuned in from somewhere. Na bila kusahau, tunapokea mziki toka DJ wetu, Machachari, mleta habari, DJ Omosh Fire. Na tunadunda kule viwanjani na Mika Ojezeka nambari 7 mgogoni, akiletea habari za michezo. Moja kwa moja toka Kilimanjaro Studios ni mimi mtangazaji na mwanahabari wako mpendwa Ali Badawi. Kwetu wananiita mteule na wengine mniite mjukuu wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Karibuni.
Now, let's talk politics.
Now, this hour there's not going to be much politics, but we'll be talking to Wambui Kamau, a journalist from Baltimore's WYPR. She's here to explain why media literacy is a critical survival skill for African immigrant communities in the U.S. Wambui will also open up about her battle with fibroids and on silent medical conditions stealing women's health and reproductive choices. So please drop a comment below and tell us what city you're tuned in from. I can already see that Washeke is tuned in from some city that I can't pronounce, but it's in Siberia. So because we have quite a bit to cover tonight and we're a bit late, we're going to get started right away. Now, tonight, we dive into a subject that doesn't just affect headlines. It affects homes, health, and the very lives of countless people in our communities. Now, poor media habits and unchecked misinformation have been shaping what we believe, how we spend, how we vote, and even how we make life or death health decisions. Now, when it comes to women's health, this has drastically impacted them by stealing their pace, energy, and even reproductive choices. Now, specifically, the medical conditions of endometriosis, fibroids, and adenomyosis. That I'm even having a hard time pronouncing that. We're going to figure out how it's pronounced. They're robbing women of their vitality, often in the shadows, and rarely given the space they deserve in our public conversations. But who is the voice breaking the silence tonight? For those tuning in from the DMV, you probably heard her voice on 88.1 FM WYPR, Baltimore's NPR station. She's a decorated journalist whose reporting has taken her from Fargo, North Dakota, to covering national headlines like the killing of Daunte Wright, the collapse of Baltimore's Key Bridge, and other major news events across the country. She's earned multiple awards for breaking news and in-depth reporting, and even landed a national nomination for a powerful story during the last presidential election, exploring whether Maryland's growing African immigrant population should shift the state's political power. Or rather could shift the state's political power. But tonight, she's not just here as a journalist, here on a personal capacity as a truth teller to break down why media literacy isn't just for academics and reporters. She'll be telling us why cultivating good media habits is a critical survival skill for African immigrant communities in the U.S. She'll take us inside her own battle with fibroids and connect the dots between misinformation in our media diets and the dangerous gaps in awareness that keep women suffering in silence. So, ladies and gentlemen, please drop a fire emoji in the comments, or as DJD Omi would call it, weka emoji za moto, and help me welcome the fearless, the insightful, the indomitable, Wambui Kamau. Wambui, karibu sana to the One Mic Show.
Asanteni sana, nimefurahi kwa hapa. It's very nice to be in a space where my name is pronounced correctly, so glad to be here.
Oh, amazing. So Wambui is so straightforward. So even Wambui, Kamau, they mispronounce that. How do they say it?
It's the cadence that's off. it's like Wambui.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
your E at the end.
Okay. Yeah, that cadence is difficult for, like people with an American background to pronounce. But karibu sana. But before we get started, Wambui, how does it feel coming on the One Mic Show's hot seat tonight, not just as an award-winning journalist, but as someone looking to open up on her personal health journey? Wambui.
I'm so glad to have this opportunity. Part of the reason I wanted to share my personal health journey here is because for me, I was learning things at the last minute. And I'm somebody who's supposed to be maybe a little bit more informed than the regular person. Mm-hmm. And before I had surgery, I was being asked to make critical decisions. Ooh. Like the surgeon, and this was a good one because I had gone through one who messed me up, was like, hey, what's your fallopian tube plan? Yeah, I didn't have one. I didn't know you're supposed to have one. I hadn't thought about fallopian tubes since, anatomy and physiology classes, if that. So I'm hoping that by being here tonight, more people can get information and sooner than they need to. Yeah, if you even need to. And we'll talk about it. And I think this is a great place to talk about it because it should be a normal conversation, the way you would talk about how you're going to fix your car, right? I feel like that's how women's health should be talked about as well.
Wow, like how you're going to fix your car. That's Wambui Kamau. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Of course, Wambui Kamau in the studio. And there was something that you said that not all doctors are created equal. We're going to get to that conversation. But first, let me introduce the rest of the panel. In studio with me, right beside me, we have DJ Omoshfire. DJ Omoshfire, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes, say hello to everyone and just tell us in a brief minute what you expect from Wambui Kamau tonight.
Hi, munanipokea.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Omosh.
I can't hear myself, but okay fine. I'll just keep speaking until somebody tells me that they can hear me or they can't hear me or that there's something that they can hear because there's something they could be hearing. Welcome to the show. Thank you, Wambui, for coming in and saying that we can pronounce your name right, because sometimes I think I screw those names. Okay. But I think I got it right. I'm already scared because you're telling us there's something called a fallopian plan. Why does this sound like a fire exit plan? You have to have a suitcase ready. And the other part to me is that because obviously this doesn't affect me directly, it affects me indirectly as a partner of. What's the partner supposed to be doing with this plan?
Right.
Because I'm like, Okay, I'm already scared. But to our panel, karibuni, our guests, our peoples, our mafans, those people in, where did Sheka say she is?
I remember Siberia.
Okay.
Yeah, just as long as you know it's Siberia, that I think he was there with Vladimir Putin or something, but I think Vladimir came, so I think maybe she was holding fort there while Vladimir Putin was meeting Trump. But yeah, Omosh.
Wow. Women's health, it's such, you touch on, because we all have mothers, sisters, friends. We all know females, and the biggest thing we always hear about women's health is fibroids. That's the one we always hear about. But fallopian, endometriosis, and there was the other one.
Adenomyosis. Adenomyosis. We're going to learn about all that tonight.
Now, endometriosis for me came to light with Jambi.
Okay.
Late.
Koikai.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when I woke up on that one.
Okay.
But fallopian tube C, we know fallopian C in bio. We used to even you are told chora hapa, name these parts. So those ones we knew of, but a plan?
Yeah. Wambui was being asked for a plan, like at the critical hour. And you have to make a decision. What's your fallopian
plan?
plan?
She's saying that was it the surgeon or it's that representative? Isn't there normally somebody who walks you through step by step? There's like somebody between the surgeon and I guess it's a hospital representative who's supposed to be able to talk to you in layman terms to explain to you what's going on.
Yes. So those are all details that we're going to get into once she gets to her health journey. So asante sana DJ Mosh Fire. Let's go to Mika Och. Mika Och is also tuned in remotely. Mika, karibu sana. Please tell us in a brief minute what you expect from Wambui Kamau tonight. Mika, twende kazi. Okay, let me see. I think we're having an issue with Mika's audio. As soon as we get him back, we'll be able to cue him in. But in the meantime, I can see quite a number of people already tuned in on YouTube. Gypsy Kona, karibu sana. Gypsy Kona anasema, can't wait to join you, my good people. I think people were tuned in even before the show started. That's how much people are looking forward to seeing Wambui Kamau.
Maybe Wambui must have said something to some people who know how to pronounce her name.
So Gypsy Kona says, I have a lovely Friday. And then, he's telling us have a lovely Friday. Yeah, let's try to see Mika. Mika, can you hear us? Okay, we are still having trouble getting Mika.
Mika,
in the meantime, let me go back to the YouTube comments. Monica Gadaya says, Team Boston waiting. So all the way from Boston. Please tell us where you're tuned in from. And then Marianne also says, yes, Wambui, our girl, waiting patiently. And then we have Ignatius Njuguna, Igi Kamau Njuguna anasema, very impressed by this bold presentation by the sons of the soil. Great Africa. Wow. Baltimore is well represented. And then let me see, anasema twende mbele, Africa hoye. And then I can see St. Clair. St. Clair says Team Baltimore. So Baltimore is in the building. And then Wairimu N karibu sana anasema, hello friends. Warm summer greetings from Kostia Magharibi, meaning the West Coast. All right.
This one again.
Yes, he's using that word again that doesn't
throwing
exist.
Me off at TCG. I don't know what.
Yes,
okay.
Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press *5 to speak. I mean, of course, we have Wambui Kamau in studio. And now, Wambui, before you get your personal health journey and the cultivation of good media habits, because there's some interrelation that you're going to talk about, talk to us briefly about yourself from childhood to your career in journalism, because a lot of people are coming into contact with you for the first time. They may have heard your voice on YPR, but they're coming in contact with now Wambui Kamau at a personal level the first time.
Yeah.
So talk to us from childhood, just briefly, from childhood to how you got into journalism, because kawaida Kenyan parents, they want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, nini. So just talk about that, starting from childhood, Wambui.
Yeah, so originally from Kenya and moved here when I was young. We settled in Minnesota, so I grew up in the Twin Cities, that's St. Paul and Minneapolis. And then now I'm calling Maryland home. And even for me, going into journalism was a scenic path. Like, pia mi nilikuwa naekewa mapresha usome nursing, and then you're compared with other people's kids, like sijui nani alinunua Lexus because they're a nurse. But it's sikwa ubaya, like your parents want you to be successful, and that's a field that matters, like you're taking care of people, it's secure, that kind of thing. So actually when I first went to college, that's what I was taking prereqs for nursing, and I was even working as a nursing assistant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I would kind of get in trouble because I didn't care too much about the clinical stuff. I cared more about people's stories.
Wow.
So nilikuwa nenda nafanya kila kitu nafaa kufanya, whether I was taking blood sugars, blood pressures, and then once everyone's okay, I like if you were my patient, I'm in your room, Omosh, and you're telling me about how you like to DJ and all that, and I'm just there. Yeah, and so I'd get in trouble because they'd be like, hey, you need to be answering your lights. And I'm like, sorry,
So the lights are at the station?
Yeah, your call lights.
Station,
yeah.
See,
so Aline anapiga nini, nini kengele yake akisema, he needs to use the restroom or whatever, something like that. So then when I applied for the nursing program, I got waitlisted. And for me, I was like, wow, I can't believe I got in. But the people I was in school with, hey, machozi, for them, they're crushed. Like, how could I be waitlisted? My life is over. So that led me to some self-reflection. Like, okay, how come me, I'm not that hurt? I'm actually impressed.
that you're on a wait
That
list.
she made it in.
Yeah.
She's impressed.
Oh,
She
wow.
made it in.
Yeah. And people are crushed that they're on a wait list. They did not get in.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So I was
Okay.
like,
Lexus driving away.
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the path for me. And when I started to reflect on it, I was like, okay, really I'm here because I like to just hear from people, that kind of thing, you know? I'm not really here because, I don't know, whatever drives nurses, it just that was not my primary driver. And then I even started looking back on my grades, and all my classes, kind of like anything that had to do with languages, anything that had to do with writing.
You were acing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Izo zingine, a
Yeah.
little bit of a struggle, you know.
Okay.
Got some extra time with the teachers. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just try this journalism thing. And if it really doesn't work out, I still got my wait list. And so far it's working out. So that's my journey into journalism.
So that was still in the Twin Cities, or
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So when you were in college, you first got into the nursing program, or rather into the prereqs for nursing, and then you slowly, once you got onto the wait list, you slowly shifted into journalism.
Yes.
And that's where you've been since then until now.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. That's a good thing. Now, for good context, Wambui, on how choice of media habits may have serious consequences on life choices. Most people already know about concepts such as financial literacy. Everybody knows about that, and they know it's important. But many get shocked when you talk about becoming media literate. In fact, some people were even getting angry. You know, there was someone who was telling me, Sasa, because you think you're on a show, you think other people are not media literate.
Huh?
So yeah, so that's an actual story that happened. But so what exactly is media literacy? Because I also started questioning myself on, am I even media literate? What exactly is media literacy, and how is it measured?
Yeah, so like any skill, media literacy is something you keep building, right? Like hata mi ka nataka kwenda kwa gym, sitaenda kulift chuma moja ni mseme, oh yeah, I'm fit now, right? I have to keep going back to get results. So media literacy works the same way. And for that person who criticized you, that's also a part of it, is sometimes us as journalists can do everything correctly, but your interpretation is yako, that we can't.
You can't help.
Yes.
Whatever you do with the information, it's up to you.
Yeah, right. But basically, media literacy is, in a nutshell, just making sure that you're also vetting the information that you're getting. Si ati unaamini kila kitu naambiwa, right? So who is telling me this story? What are they telling me? Why are they telling that to me? You know, how are they telling that to me? Those kind of things. And then, so let's just, I don't know, I'm guessing most of the audience is Christian, so we can use Bible stories as an example, right?
Not Christian, but
it's okay.
But it's okay
For
because
now, we'll
because
pretend he knows Jesus.
Because here's
Go
the
ahead.
thing, I think I know the Bible than most Christians, but that's a story for another day.
He'll even tell you he's ready to face.
Yes, we'll
Back to
talk
back,
we'll talk
but
about
it's
that. We'll
okay.
talk about that later. But yeah, let's do Bible stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for example, a lot of times when we read the Bible, whose perspective are we reading it from?
The writer?
Right. But maybe I should pick a story as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How would the animals tell the story of Noah's Ark?
From the perspective of the animal.
Right.
Yes.
So would they say, tunaenda tunafungiwa, me I like to roam, kukula nyasi, nini nini,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're being locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how we read it from the human's perspective,
We are
right?
saving them.
Yeah, right? Yeah. They got a partner, 2 by 2.
And we saved them. They were not collected
Yes.
by the water.
Yes. Yeah, but I get your point. They're seeing it from a different perspective. We like being outside, but these people are getting us in here, and we do not want to be in here. We'd rather be outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so media literacy is like whatever the story is, just vetting it a little bit more, right? Is and one way you can do that is, for example, let's say you were living in those days and then you're told there's going to be a flood, right? Where else can you check if there will indeed be a flood? And that's a lot of our job too as journalists is weather. Weather is always a big deal, right? So yeah, it's just where am I getting, what is the information, where am I getting it from, and how am I getting it? If it's something like a flood that's gonna happen and then you're told, oh, you might swim away, how would you respond to that? You probably wouldn't take it seriously, right? But then if it's like, hey, you are not safe, then you're like, oh, wow, I'm not safe. What do I need to prepare? Those kind of things.
Okay, now, Dijo, let me move to Dijo Moshfire. You know, like when you're consuming media, are you consistently thinking about these things that she's talking about? Or are you just, okay, I've gotten my information, I'm running with it, I'm going to share it on this WhatsApp group, and that's it. You know, do not ask me where I got it from. As long as I shared it, that's it, forwarded as received.
Well, 19 Kitambo, I used to just send, then I became forwarded as received or something like that.
Sent as received.
Yeah, sent as received. And now if I cannot verify it, if I cannot see that there's a source and there's a tweet and there's a Sijui thing, Kenny G is going to be in Kenya and I can't see it on his page, on his Twitter.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, even if there's 88 ads and they're doing it every hour, he's not going.
It's out.
So, which means me, I'm not sambazaring and letting other people know.
Okay.
Like, if I can't verify it, 9 times out of 10, I'm not forwarding it. But if indeed I will, then I will have a disclaimer and say, by the way, this one here, it's Ali who sent it to me. I cannot verify.
Cannot verify the source.
Yes, I cannot verify. So you get the information, do with it as you please.
Okay. But now, with that Kenny G example, what if someone sends a screenshot of Kenny G's page, a verified page, that Kenny G is going to be in Nairobi? And even he's been seen at Mama Oliech's place eating fish. And it's on Kenny G's a screenshot. Nice screenshot. Looks very authentic. What do you do with that? Do you start, commenting?
I get excited, but I still go and check it.
Okay.
Because if I can't see it on the source, then that means that diggity ain't happening.
Yeah, because I think the people who are spreading false... Okay, now I think we've got it, Mika. Now, yes, before we get to Mika, with a lot of whatever is happening right now is that the people who are scamming are getting more clever. They understand people want to check the source, so they give you a source. Like earlier today, we got a screenshot that Fred Matiang'i has dropped out of the presidential race in Kenya. Nice screenshot from a source that's nonkenyans.co.ke. It looks authentic, but because of my personal skepticism, I don't care. Even if it's who has sent something to me, I will always go check in the original source. If it's not there, I'm not believing that.
So had you gotten that screenshot from Baba Maura, would you have believed?
So, for me, the way sometimes I get caught out. If it's something spectacular, like presidential candidate has dropped out of a race. My first instinct is that, first of all, most mainstream media sources would be on that story immediately.
Correct.
So if you're not seeing any other chatter, it's important to be suspicious.
And more than likely, there'll be a media presser or something that they'll come out and say, hey, more than likely, at this point, with all the noise that they've been making.
Yes, that's right. And we have Wambui Kamau in the studio. Number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Someone was asking me for that number on YouTube.
Say it a little bit slower. I think it was Monica.
Okay, the number is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Again, even slower and in an easier way. 202-683-4570.
That's easier.
That's easier, yeah. So 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Kimasai baadaye. Mika Och, karibu sana to the One Mic Show. For a brief minute, Paula, we had some equipment issues here, but for a brief minute, talk to us. Tell us what you expect from Wambui Kamau tonight. Mika Och, twende kazi.
Thank you, Ali. I want to say Good evening to everybody. Happy Friday. Another happy hour, another week we've survived America. And you guys, do you know it's actually 4 months to next year? So the year is nearly over. In January,
Ati what?
Yeah. 4 months.
So unataka kuniambia in at least 4 months we'll be sitting at that place eating fish again?
With Kenny G.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Mika, contain yourself.
Samaki, big fish.
Contain
Anyway,
yourself.
for me, I just want to say, boy, thank you for gracing us with your presence, for accepting to come to us. And actually, what I'm expecting, Ali, when she was talking earlier, she said that she got in trouble because of stories. She likes hearing stories. And actually, me, what I'm expecting today is to hear a story from her.
Okay.
That is the only thing I'm expecting. Like in her own voice, her own journey, in her own voice, in her own way, how she's going to narrate everything to us.
Okay. All right. Sawa. So people want to hear your story. And as we get to you, Wambui Kim Jeru on YouTube is saying, with proliferation of AI, you cannot trust your basic senses like sight and sound. Verify everything. And part of, false information, there's misinformation and then there's false information. Just last week, we're talking about how easy it has become to scam Kenyans. Kenyans have been in multiple scams. And
Lakini be fair, not only Kenyans.
Yes, to be fair, not only Kenyans, but a lot of people, because of believing something, because just someone told you, but it's making money, so you dive in mzima. But then again, we're going to be talking about all these things tonight. And I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned into the One Mic Show. I'm your co-host and producer, Ali Badawi, and we are talking to award-winning journalist from Baltimore's WYPR 88.1 FM, Miss Wambui Kamau. She's here talking about how cultivating good media habits can help the community. We'll shortly be talking about Wambui's personal health journey and silent medical conditions stealing women's health and reproductive choices. We'll also get into why all men must pay attention in topics of reproductive health for women. So keep it locked for that and more. And please drop a comment below to let us know what you think. Leo Facebook watu wamenyamaza, but I want to hear from Facebook too. YouTube is a bit active. Now, also in the comment section below, please type a yes or a no if you think you are media literate. Yes for media literate, and no, I do not think I'm media literate. So let's see how many yeses we'll get. YouTube and Facebook, please type in. As we're going to be assessing tonight what media literacy is, and we're going to gauge if we're media literate or if we still need a little bit of work. Our lines are open. The number to call, 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. An easier way, 202-683-4570 nyota 5 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Feel free to call in. And then
nyota 5.
Yeah, nyota 5.
So it's not hash.
It's not hash. It's star.
Okay.
Yeah, it's star. Now we had an audio clip that Wambui gave us. I don't know whether you have it ready, Uno Mike.
Before you play it, can
yes.
I add something to the conversation?
Yeah, sure.
So I think it was Kim who said to verify everything, including social media.
Yeah.
Some other quick tips that you we probably all know, but I'll share anyway, is if it's an article and it's online, it should have a byline especially for a lot of us who maybe consume media from secondhand, in terms of maybe the story was already on Nation, and then some of the sites that we go to now here takes it over. For the most part, it shouldn't say by staff. It should say, by Ali Badawi, so you know who to hold accountable or who to reach out to.
So these articles that say by staff, so we should not trust those.
Not that you shouldn't trust them, but don't over rely on them. Sometimes, so for me, I work in mainstream media, right? Sometimes when there's just things are flying, we do have to get things out there. So sometimes when an article says by staff, it's probably not something that I went and wrote could be something like maybe we got it from the police department, so they wrote it and we put it on there and we say by staff and we change a little bit of wording. But sometimes when we do that, it's because the information is so critical that it's better for you to know, right, than to wait for us to
verify,
or not necessarily verify. Some of those things are likely, or just to So for example, let's say it's an evacuation, right? Like even how you guys are reacting, you would be like, yeah, let me know I need to get out, versus sit around and wait for you to find the right words, you know? But some people, it's always, like I've noticed with some of the sites, it's always by staff. So that's one place to not always trust that. And then another thing that I feel like our communities really need is, sometimes we already know the news, you know, but because we don't have those relationships with journalists or with certain outlets, it's already at a grassroots level and we know things, but they don't know things. So I think also sometimes we just need to trust ourselves and our judgment, like, oh wait, this happened and it's different and it's changed, and that's what news is what's new, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I did want to offer out there. It's like, it's not always things that we can learn from other people who wrote these rules, but it's also things that we can just believe ourselves on.
What about these articles that say, you know, like by editorial board? Are those to be trusted? Because it doesn't have a name, it just says editorial board of the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times.
So how editorial boards work is they're separate from newsrooms. So at a place like the Wall Street Journal that can afford to employ so many journalists, right? The editorial board is not like, if I work for the WSJ, I would not be part of the editorial board. It would be different people who are part of it. And that's literally their job, is to give you their opinion. So I'm glad you brought that up as well, because yes, there's different types of news, right? So there's the news mostly like I cover, what's happening on the ground, what took place today.
Factual news.
Yes. But then some of these larger media houses tend to have, or even just, I would say it's not always size, because the industry is changing. It's not always size based, but a lot of the legacy outlets tend to have opinion as well as part of their content. So when it comes to opinion, there are editorial boards, and they'll be honest and they'll say, hey, this is an opinion section, and that has its value, right? Because, for example, let's say I go and cover a candidate. You can either vote for Ali or you can vote for Omosh Faya. This is, Ali says he's gonna do this. Omosh says
endorsing
he's gonna
candidates.
Or I would just say these are the two maybe more options that you have, right? But then the editorial board would say, we prefer Omosh over Ali. We like Omosh because he's fun. We've had a hard time in the society. We need someone who's fun, right? Like, that's what an editorial board does. And they say, like, they're giving their opinion. You don't need to like follow it, but it's just something to consider. And it's also a way to drive up engagement, right? Because even just hearing something like that, it'll trigger somebody and they'll write a letter. Nowadays it's an email to the editor and say, hey, I can't believe you said you prefer this candidate over someone who's fun. This and that is happening in the schools, or our roads are terrible. What is a fun person gonna do about that? So that's also another purpose for editorial boards, is they kind of give you a measure of the temperature around issues or
Okay. Now there was a time on Kenyan media, when like when Uhuru was president. So there was a team called the Presidential Strategic Communication Unit, PSCU. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of like
press unit.
It's kind of like the White House press or the White House spokespeople. So they would actually, newspapers would actually publish what's written by them as an article. And most people, just read an article, but they don't look at the author, and they would write PCSU, Presidential Communication Strategic Unit.
Yep,
So most
PSU,
people
yeah.
did not even know what that was, but I could tell why is an article in the newspaper not being published in the opinion section? Because I think, like the White House, for example, they can publish an opinion piece, or like an individual senator or a congressman, they can publish an opinion piece. But here, it appears like in the newspaper, like a normal article, and people are just reading it and accepting it. So I don't know whether that happens here in the US, but I noticed at some point it started happening in Kenya.
Yeah, it absolutely does happen here in the US. And one of the things that is supposed to happen, whether it's a newspaper or a broadcast, there should be a label on it that says sponsored content or
Okay.
sponsored message.
Yeah.
So when you see sponsored, then you know, hey, this is actually an advertisement, not, something journalistic to inform me. This is something to persuade me.
Wow. And I will tell you, I'll be honest with you, because I speak for the regular news consumer, 90%, even if they see that, they probably don't know what it means. And I guess that's where you now start slowly teaching yourself and becoming literate, so that you know that this is someone who paid for this space here. Because I've also noticed that a lot of these media houses now on their social media pages, they have a lot of sponsored content. So it appears, so you're used to seeing Fox 5, you're used to seeing news, but there's certain pieces that it kind of looks like a news piece, but it's labeled sponsored. But a lot of people, that's one of those things that I think now people are slowly going to need to learning. Those maybe who did not know about it, thought they were media literate. These are the small details that you need to look at. And I want to welcome Stephen Batty all the way from Dallas, Karibu Sana. And then Stephen Batty says, I take journalism classes. So tell us more about those journalism classes, Steve Batty, because Steve Batty has a podcast, Sambaza podcast, so he's also in the space. And then Esther Mulusa, he says, neutral, I am not well versed in AI. So neutral, I don't know whether you mean about the media literacy or whether this is the AI part. And then here Sambaza says that yes, he is he is media literate, and we're gonna put you all to the test to see how media literate you are. And then Washeke here has an interesting question, and she's asking, can we talk about the misuse of the phrase breaking news by cable news? It's now lost its meaning.
Wow.
Wambui.
All the way from Siberia. Look at that.
All the way from Siberia. She's still getting breaking news.
No, that's something that I agree with, right? So why is that happening? I think nowadays there's such a pressure on us as journalists to break, sorry to use the play on words here, but break through the noise, right? Because we're just also bombarded by information. And so then it's like, okay, let's say I was, I don't know, covering a court case today, right? So the verdict is out. Do you guys think it's fair for me to, if I go on Twitter or wherever I'm informing my audience, to label breaking news?
But that's what happens, especially, let's say for lack of a better example, like Diddy's case, whenever anything small happens, not even a verdict or anything small happens, breaking, you're seeing multiple outlets saying breaking. So that, tends to oversaturate you.
No, that's absolutely fair. Yeah, it's something we absolutely need to work on. We, as journalists and just in the media, we do need to get our brooms and our dustpans together and literally clean that up, because another way that people who do that or that style, it's about eyeballs, right?
Okay.
Because, and that has to do with how the media is structured, right? So for example, for me, I work in public media, which means that it's the listeners who pay for the content. The government was also contributing, but with the current administration, that's changed. But if you're working in, let's say, commercial media, then you need ads. And how do you get ads? You need to say, oh, between 4 and 6 p.m. or whatever time hours, we get this many clicks. And so that's part of the reason. It's kind of like a profit motive when we say breaking. Another thing that also happens is in journalism, we have beats, which means that's what you cover. So if somebody covers entertainment, someone covers sports, someone covers politics. So sometimes if I'm not interested in sports, but the sports journalist is going to say breaking because maybe, I don't know, a Ravens player got traded or got injured or something. So in that sphere, it is breaking news. But because I'm not interested in that topic, I'm like, say nini. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what they call a watch bomb. Like those watch bombs that on ESPN that would be dropped like when a basketball player is being traded, you know, like when Anthony Davis or LeBron James is being traded. I mean, of course, that's big news. But to someone who's not interested in sports, is like,
You mean to us non-Lakers?
Yeah, to
Okay.
anyone who doesn't like sports. Yeah. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. As we wait for that audio clip to be ready, I'm going to read a couple of comments here. Monica, Kim Jeru. I already read Kim Jeru's comment. This is Shook Once. Okay. I like that name, Shook Once. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Like Denzel said, if you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you do, you are misinformed. Shout out, cuz proud of you. Okay, that's Shook Once. And then Marimo says, yes, I'm media literate. And then yes, type yes if you're media literate and no if you're not. Now Ignatius Njuguna is saying not sure because I only read what's appealing. Now that is, I like the honesty. And Kim Jeru says 80-20 if I'm being honest. But I like what Ignatius has said. Not sure because I only read what's appealing. Now, as far as media habits are concerned, is that necessarily a good thing? Should we just read what's appealing to us?
No, we shouldn't just read what's appealing to us. We should read a little bit of everything. And even in the things that are appealing to us, we should read it from multiple sources, right? If, I don't know, let's say I like to read about beauty, what are beauty trends that are happening. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't just read from you. I should also read from Omosh, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But sometimes also reading things that you're not interested in will give you a better idea or a bigger scope about the relationship between things.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You see, for example, I hate gossip. I don't like reading gossip. But gossip is very popular. But
it's juicy.
It's very juicy and it gets a lot of clicks. Like you'll see it has a lot of views. So if I'm someone who is out of tune with gossip, you'll find me reading, I read a lot of different things. I read a lot of history. I read a lot of current affairs. I read a lot of politics. I watch documentaries. Do you think I should add some gossip to my diet?
That's a tough one because I'm the same way. I'm not big on the tabloids. Mm-hmm. But it never hurts to know a little bit of pop culture, you know what I mean? And
TMZ.
Yeah, and as somebody who likes history, one way to read things that you don't like to read is to read it through the things you enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you're not into gossip.
Yeah.
But since you said you're into history, you can approach it that way. Like, oh, why are they talking about Meghan and Prince Harry in this way?
Okay.
Right? And rely on some historical themes that you're used to.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Again, the number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. Bakora is saying on mic, the audience and grooming for these Gen Zs is incredible. Nyinyi watu tunawa appreciate sana. Okay. Thank you so much. And then Monica says, not sure. Sometimes I get I get biased. Now, as we still wait for that clip to play, I have there was a quote that you actually gave me, and I'm trying to find the right way of saying it. You said bad media habits don't just misinform, they invisibilize, they train us to ignore the truth in our politics, in our communities, and even in our own bodies. And that's a silent crisis. Just talk to us about that for a minute.
Yeah, wow. That's profound. Can you read it again, please?
So you said, this is what you told me. Bad media habits don't just misinform, they invisibilize. They train us to ignore the truth in our politics, in our communities, and even in our bodies. And that's a silent crisis.
Yeah, so I think that's real in the sense of, especially for those of us who are here living abroad, sometimes we're not telling our own stories, or if we are, the way that we're telling them, there's a nervousness to it. There's like a, oh, I don't want to be seen. Oh, be careful. Oh, I don't know how this will be interpreted, right? So I think that's why it's important for us to be able to tell our own stories. And I think also one thing I've noticed is a lot of diasporans have they view maybe journalists as celebrities, like untouchable, where really you should view them as like, you work for me, right? Oh, sorry, I thought you were gonna say something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So when you look at us that way, I think that helps you get more and better information that you need and you deserve.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then Annette is asking, can we talk about misleading headlines and rage bait? These tactics are used a lot on social media, especially. So talk about that briefly too.
Yeah. Thank you, Annette, for that. It's so true, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about for some, not everyone is acting in good faith, even though in the media space, right? For some people, it's really just about clickbait. And then you alluded to earlier about scams. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's also just about, once you click there, it's not just for that person to make money off of ads mm-hmm. or that organization. It's also to get your information, because through your IP address, they can tell, oh, these are the things that Ali likes. So now every time you're online, you're like, why do I keep seeing sneakers everywhere? Because they know that's what you like and that's what they're, trying to sell to you, type of
yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, in terms of rage bait, like that's something we really need to be evaluating more, because again, it has to do, when it comes to information, really it's about power, who has it. So when it comes to rage bait, depending on the topic, it has those are the underlying themes, right? So let's say you guys are into politics, so you'll see a lot of that in sometimes with political headlines, even though there's that notion of like, oh, it's politics, it should be highbrow, that type of thing, right? But sometimes those rage bait headlines, if it's like, this group of people does XYZ, and it's something like that just doesn't have any dignity to it.
Yeah.
Right? Like that also can like mobilize a different base of people so that they can go and do what they need to do politically.
Breitbart.
Mm.
Breitbart.
Okay. Breitbart News. Okay.
Fox News.
All right. And now, okay, Uno Mike, you've not said anything, so go ahead and talk to us.
Oh, no. I'm just listening as we are trying to work out the sound issues and audio issues and stuff like that. But
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Are we in a position to play her audio?
Yes.
Or okay.
The audio.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then maybe we can go ahead and play it, or
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and play that clip, and then we're gonna continue with the story. All right. Go ahead.
You have endometriosis, adenomyosis, and fibroids, but these conditions are exceedingly.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Oh, we ready?
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead.
Health. That is not one item that we talked about in our home, or my mom or my auntie or anybody else would talk about it freely. So it has a lot of cultural stigma.
It was an issue with the fibroids, and we never dealt with that. And just having to be the one-on-one care to deal with that, especially coming from the background that we come from, that's usually outsourced either to nurses or maybe females. It was definitely an eye-opener.
If you are a father, I would first of all like to encourage you that nothing is impossible. I was strongly grounded in the fact that God, who created everything, knows everything. He understands all health challenges and conditions. And this was new, totally new to our family. It was so worrying, and most of the times I felt depressed and discouraged. But when my faith took effect, I trusted that God was going to use the doctor, because the doctor only treats, but it's only God who heals.
So that's essentially what I call the trifecta of gynecologic conditions, when you have endometriosis, adenomyosis, and fibroids. But these conditions are exceedingly common. So if you play the numbers of statistics games, right, if you have 1 in 10 for endometriosis, then fibroids become more common by age 40. It's very hard to sometimes differentiate how much is from one condition versus the other. But there's really kind of a 1 in 3 overlap, up to 30% chance of having all of these things at some point in their reproductive life.
For me, even being in the World Endometriosis Organization, we are still underrepresented. I'm usually like the only Black person, African person attending those forums. And so that's the reason why it's important to continue pushing and encouraging other advocacy groups to join organizations like these.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Wambui, give us some context about that audio that we just listened to.
Yeah. So you guys were listening to my family members who were supporting me through my process, my doctor, and also a health activist. So I don't know how far back I should go, but growing up,
Just start from the beginning. Or give us history that's summarized. How about that?
Yeah. Okay. So growing up, I always had difficult periods, but even before that, I would faint. Like, yeah, like I don't know if you guys remember assembly at school. Yeah, like even back then, I just would literally pass out
at assembly.
Yes. And it was always like, oh, you need to eat better. Oh, do you not eat enough? That kind of thing. And
were you in a boarding school?
No. I always went to a day school.
Okay.
Because I would go to doctors, and then they would be more worried about like syncope, which is your heart failing. That's what they would check for. And they'd be like, oh, her heart's in good condition. I don't know why she fainted. And it would kind of happen, not like frequently, but often enough for it to be like, hey, we should really look at this, you know? So when I got older, then I think in my teens, I was told I'm anemic, which is where your red blood cells don't am I blanking out on my own condition? But like your red blood cells don't get enough iron.
Okay.
So that can lead to weakness, that can lead to fainting, that kind of a thing. So it was like, oh, just eat things that have iron so you can absorb it. And if you're not absorbing it, then drink something with vitamin C, because that binds together and that helps. So I would do that, but it still wouldn't really solve the problem, solve the issue. So maybe I think like in my early 20s is when I first went to see a gynecologist. And she was like, oh, well, you're black and a lot of black women have fibroids. So that's probably what it is. That's probably what's causing your anemia is the fibroids. But, you're young and otherwise healthy. So you can either just get on birth control and then...
Or change your color.
That...
Sorry.
But what exactly, because there's half of our audience is male, what exactly is fibroids? Because some people honestly just don't know what it is.
Yeah, so fibroids are non-cancerous tumors that grow in your womb, in the muscle wall. So they can grow in different locations of your uterus, and depending on the location, that can affect the symptoms that you experience. So that's what they are, and most of the times they don't become cancerous. Actually, it's quite rare that they do. And to treat it, there's a couple options. So one of them is a myomectomy, which means the doctors open you up and then they take it out. And because they're growing on your muscle, like they literally have to wrestle with them to take them out. It's not just like scooping ice cream.
Yeah.
And that can become very damaging to your womb. So even though it's something that's in the lexicon, like you mentioned earlier, Amosh, like most people don't realize what a wrecking ball it is. Okay, but I'm just gonna go back to me in terms of trying to figure out what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
So they had that awareness, but they were like, oh, okay, well, since you're not really fainting anymore, and we'll just kind of monitor your hemoglobin, which is a measure of like how much. I feel like I don't want to say
blood?
Yeah, but it's like your iron stores. And if it's below a certain number, like if it's below 6, you get blood transfusions. And for most men have like 13 and up, and then women have 11 and up. But if you're in those single digits, it's not safe for you.
It's not ideal.
Yeah. And you can also take iron supplements to help, which that also has its side effects. Like you can get terrible cramps type of thing.
And that pill is huge.
The what?
The pill. The iron pill.
Oh, yeah?
It's an actual big pill, but go on.
Okay. There's different types, so I never had the big one.
Okay.
But yeah, so even with that awareness, like I kind of just tried to manage my life as best as I could. And then maybe like 5 years later after that, I just was not getting better. If anything, like my belly was like up to here.
So this is in your 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it didn't matter how much I exercised or whatnot. It just would always be out, and then it started getting really hard. So.
So before you continue, the whole time is a thought that you have fibroids?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. And this is in your early 20s.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I go and I get treated for that. I have a surgery done. And even through that operation, the doctor didn't take all of them out. One of them was really small, so he was like, I don't really want to like give you scar tissue over something small, but the ones that are giving you problems are out. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, great. I don't know any better. I'm trusting this doctor, right? Okay. Then guess what? That one that he left in there ballooned in size.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe like a year later, I felt like, you know how you go somewhere but you didn't go anywhere?
You're feeling tired.
Deja vu, you're back where you are.
Yeah, like right where I started, So then I'm like, okay, you know what? This time around, the difference, I'll make sure that my doctor is a female, because the one I had before was male.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, and then I was like, oh, and also if I have a black doctor, then
Black female.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like,
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
like-
see where you're going. I see where you're going.
they're not gonna put me through this. I don't know, just like that trust. Like, this can't be my life is constantly having surgeries, right?
What city are you in
So
this
now
point?
at this point, so the first one I was in the Twin Cities, and then at this point I was here in Maryland, in Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do as much research as I can. I get second opinions, and then all of them are like, you can't just leave that thing in there. You have to get
You
treated.
have to do something about
And
it.
I'm like, well, I don't want to go through surgery. I already did that, and look at where I'm at. And they're like, yeah, but the more you leave it alone, the bigger it'll grow, and then the surgical options become even more limited, and the damage that it's doing becomes worse. So I was like, okay, so
And this whole time, medication is not an option.
the medication that's an option is pain meds.
Okay,
But
just
it-
to control the pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the
it's-
problem with that is now you can get addicted
Okay.
with the pain meds.
Okay. But it's not helping with.
It's not helping
the
with
growth.
the growth.
Right.
So
Yeah.
pretty much it's cut it out or. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, cut it out. Or one thing that can happen, I don't know how common this is, but it can calcify, which means it just gets really,
hardens,
it really hardens, and it just stays as a part of your body. So, I think I was just like a little bit avoidant. Like, I don't really want to deal with this, because what if I deal with this and then I'm back to square one again, right? Like, I have this fear. But the doctor, I really trusted her, because again, she's one of us.
Female,
Yeah.
black.
Yeah, and she's African black.
Okay.
Too.
Okay.
wow.
So
Yeah.
African.
Oh,
Okay.
three out of. Okay.
3 out of 3?
Kenyan
yes.
Kenyan by any chance?
No, she said African.
Yeah,
which
Miss
means
African.
she's-
We'll
she's
leave it at
She's
that.
probably West African,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to go
No,
there.
Yeah,
But
well, let's leave it
East
at that.
African.
Oh, East
Oh,
African.
see,
Okay,
look
okay.
closer.
So
Higher.
closer. So
444.
maybe
Higher.
Kenyan.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well,
back to you, Wambui.
Maybe Tanzania. Ah, sorry.
Where,
carry on.
where?
Yeah.
You're messing the story.
Oh,
See, you
sorry.
said, see, Mika is waiting for a story.
Okay, so by the way, I don't know if the pictures are there, but feel free to show them. So I go through this operation with her. I literally had a dinosaur egg. Like,
Is it that picture that we are showing right now?
no,
Not that one.
Okay, show the other one.
The other
There's
that,
one that was, I think, too
is-
graphic. The one was too
It's-
So,
graphic.
is it
you
this
think,
one that's
you
showing?
think that one is graphic? I don't think it's
Yeah.
graphic. I think we should show it. But
Okay.
hey,
No, this one is when she was.
Oh, this is when you are in hospital.
miserable
Yes.
in Hosi.
yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's the other one.
Okay.
You don't want to show the other one?
No,
You're scared?
No, this.
Okay. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So
She put the disclaimer and we went with the disclaimer.
no, she said.
No, she said show it.
She said you can
Yeah.
show
So
it.
just go
But-
ahead. Just
but-
go,
No,
let's just go.
we didn't set it up.
Oh, you didn't set it up. Okay.
Got it. Got
Okay.
it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys are missing out on my dinosaur egg that was in me, but I'll describe it.
Yeah.
So
I'll set it up.
Okay.
So I had to have what they call an open surgery because of the size of it. So open is basically like you're giving birth, but instead of a child, you're giving birth to this non-cancerous tumor, right? So I have the operation. They take it out. They close me back up. I'm in so much pain, because also another thing that happened is because for me it was so large that I wasn't eating, like I had no appetite. So doctors, what they do, part of what they do is when they dose you according to your weight. So now I'm being given medication for being like 15 pounds lighter instead of the actual, I guess, weight that I should be. Plus the operation, it takes a lot out of you. Like, I couldn't work for, I think, 3 months. They say 6 to 8 weeks, but because I just wasn't doing well, it took even longer. Yeah, and I had to, as you can see, I was hospitalized. I had to sleep there, all that. And then I'm discharged. And it's like, hey, actually, we couldn't take out everything. but we're going to put you on this medication and it will control for the rest of what you're having. And then you just, again, don't know any better because it's like this person.
The doctor said.
Yeah. It's a doctor. And then even at that, so that's part of the reason I wanted to share my story too, was because you mentioned this earlier, Ali, like not all doctors are created equal.
Yes.
Because I think for a lot of us, we have an understanding of like a mesoma, right? As long as they have a lab coat.
Exactly.
And it's MD or DO behind their names, it's all good.
The human.
But when it comes to women's health, there's different tiers. Like, especially when you're dealing with these conditions, the fibroids, the endo, even me, I struggle saying
Endometriosis.
the other one, adenomyosis.
Adenomyosis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Really, who you're supposed to be seeing is a gynecologist. Like, literally, that's the OB and the GYN. You're supposed to be seeing the one that's just a GYN, gynecologist.
Okay.
They are the ones who are skilled enough to treat these conditions.
Okay.
And then even with the gynecologists, one thing to do is to make sure that they have a certification. It's MIGS, like minimally invasive gynecological surgery. That way, when they operate on you, they're not like how I was, where it was open. They can do it, they can go through your belly button or through other entry points and excise the tissue that's damaging for you that way.
Now, let me ask a question
Yes.
so that, like we get a better context and better understanding. How is the average person supposed to know this? Number one. And then number two, if I'm an expert, let's say like I'm a doctor and I know, like I am not skilled in doing this. And you, Wambui, has come to me to get this taken off. Am I not supposed to tell you, Wambui, like I'm not skilled in this, like go to Dr. X? Isn't that what's supposed to happen?
That is exactly what's supposed to happen, but unfortunately that doesn't happen, right? And this is in Baltimore, which is considered a medical mecca, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because of John Hopkins.
Yeah. Because what happens is there's just not enough education or awareness on this, right? So, because even this happened to me. My primary referred me to an OB-GYN. The OB-GYN said, oh yeah, I do this all the time. I got you. But they didn't, right? And then even that OB-GYN can refer you to what they call like an GYN oncologist.
Wow.
So they're looking at you like you have cancer because you have a couple operations. You're not responding well to treatment.
Okay. Now, is that the picture that we were talking about?
Yes.
So describe that. What exactly is that?
Give it a disclaimer before we throw it on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the picture that's about to come up is the dinosaur egg that I referred to earlier. This is the one that the first doctor had said, oh, I'm not going to worry about that. And then a year or two later, it just ballooned in size. And this is what was causing me to not to eat, because it was pushing up on my belly, on my stomach.
Oof.
It was also pushing up on my bladder, so I would have a lot of frequency. Yeah, and then even with this, they were like, yeah, it'll be a 90-minute operation. It ended up being, I think, double that or 3 hours. Because even on the scans, they can see, oh, something's wrong. But it's not until they go in there that they're like, whoa, this is, humongous.
Mm-hmm.
So to make this long story short, so after this, like, I'm still not doing well in terms of my function.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I don't know how I came upon her, but I came upon my current surgeon, Dr. Ann Peters with Mercy, who is just a gynecologist. That's all she does is deal with GYN issues.
Okay.
And Yes, that's her pictured in blue.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, I've had a couple surgeries now and I still don't get better. Like I'm fine for a year or two and then it grows back and then they keep thinking I have cancer and like I need to do tumor marker tests and this and that. I don't know what's going on. And she's like, I have an idea, but it may require surgery. And I'm like, oh man.
Wow. Again.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so for a lot of these doctors, right, like they do this day in and day out. So for them, you're kind of just like a hole for them to plug in a schedule.
Okay.
But for you, it's a major disruption
Yes.
in your life. It's money, it's time. You got to find caregivers, that kind of thing.
You have to talk to your boss and your boss's boss and then line it up and hopefully you are not in that much pain and you can work and you have to pay your car note. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
lot.
exactly.
And
Thank
then
you.
finding caregivers. Like you might get people for a week, maybe 2. Week 3, everybody disappears.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's like, the reason you're not getting better is because you don't just have fibroids. You have what I call a trifecta, which is you have 3 GYN conditions going on at the same time. You have the fibroids, you have endometriosis, and then the adenomyosis. So endometriosis, is this picture up?
You're talking about the
Like where you can see the inflamed.
the previous one, not this one on the mic. The previous, not the other one. The other one that you had just posted,
or either,
not too long
or
ago.
both can work.
Yeah.
But basically, it's tissue that is supposed to be growing in your uterus or normally lines your uterus is growing outside of it, right?
Oh.
That's what it is. So it's not supposed to be there, but because it is there, that's what's causing you so much pain. And then what the difference is with adenomyosis, it's like the evil step cousin of endometriosis.
Say that again. Wow.
The evil step cousin who's redheaded.
I didn't say that much.
Awesome.
But with adenomyosis, it's also tissue that is more towards the muscular wall, and then that one is what can really impact fertility and implantation.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this can have an effect on fertility.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's a lot of people understand it that way. It's like, oh, it's not that bad. You just can't get pregnant, or you can do IVF, but really, it's a systems disease. Because you're in, like, especially with endometriosis, they can find it anywhere. Like, there's people who they found it in their eye. Like, how did tissue that's supposed to line your uterus end up in your eye? They don't know. They're still working on research about that. But I think the theme for today was like us shaping our own stories.
Yes.
Right? I think like this is one place that we really need to shape the story, because a lot of these conditions, like endometriosis is pretty common. It happens 1 in 10 women experience it. So at least 10% of the world population has this condition. But with fibroids, it's about 80% of Black women that's concentrated in it. And then, so when you think about how common that is, like there's 4 of us in this room, right? So if you do the math, it's like
3 would have it.
Yeah, that's insane, right? And before, doctors would treat it by just taking out your uterus, but now they know that's not always the cure. What really needs to happen is those tissues that are growing where they're not supposed to grow need to be excised. And that's a key word, is excision. Because right now in America, one of these bodies, like the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, ACOG, recognizes 2 procedures. So one is an ablation, which means when they cut you open, they just burn all the tissue that's there and it can grow back.
Wow.
Yeah, but what they need to do is cut it out. And insurance, what does insurance do? Insurance follows what ACOG does or says. So sometimes if you are, having these conditions and then you want the excision, insurance might not be willing to pay for all of it because to them, the ablation is just as good. Right. And also ablation is cheaper, because I know I shouldn't be using the phrase cut you open because, nowadays there's minimally invasive ways to do things. But once I'm using it as a figure of speech. I just want to make sure that's understood. Yeah, but once they go inside you, they just, I don't know. It's like if you have a torch, it's easy to burn things.
Yeah.
But what they really need to do is like snip and cut and check and this and that.
So it's more of a surgical process rather than just burn everything.
Right.
It's like cutting the fat off chicken. That's what they need to be doing instead of just.
Yeah, and if and there are people who choose to have a hysterectomy, which means to just completely have your uterus out. But even then, if you take out the uterus, there's still excision that needs to happen because again, it can grow in areas outside of your uterus.
Okay. All right. The number to call is 202-683-4570. Press star 5 to speak. We have Wambui Kamau from WYPR 88.1 FM in studio. She's giving us her health journey, her health story. Very interesting conversation. A couple of comments here coming in. We already have a caller. Okay. Before we get to the caller, let me read a few comments here on Facebook. Sambaza says, by the way, at times when you have fibroids and having a pregnancy, there are times it starts fighting for food with the unborn child. My neighbor had a scare, but it was okay at the end. She is a senior in high school. And then Caroline Domo says, so proud of you, Wambui. Thank you for sharing your story. And Esther Mulusa says, the same men who spend most of their waking life. No, I'm not sure what that comment is about. I think there might be some context to it. And then let me see what else is coming in here. Sambaza again says, is that one the size of a Costco Sam's Club chicken? Pole sana Wambui, bless up. And then let me see hapo Sambaza anasema libadawe anaitwa msikitini na mwadhini. By the way, hiyo mwadhini, I don't know what app. I've been trying to find out what app it is. That's why you constantly hear it during the show. But at least when my mom is listening to the show, at least she gets excited when she hears that. But anyway, I'll try to take care of it. And then, wow, so many comments were coming in on YouTube. I can see here Wairimu saying medical apartheid in this country is real. There's even a book by that title. Doctors hesitate to remove non-cancerous fibroid tumors too early, especially in young women. Fibroids will sometimes shrink with pregnancy and sometimes calcify towards menopause. Each case is different. So it seems, the women are very fluent in this and the men are floating. The floating and sinking principle. Remember in physics when they taught the floating and sinking principle, that's what's happening. And that
is that Archimedes?
Archimedes, Galileo, one of those people.
There?
Yeah, one of them. I can't remember who it was. But Annette,
but it's a learning moment and a teaching moment.
It's a learning moment because especially those numbers 1 in 10 or 80%. That's 4 in 5. That is very, profound. Annette says, this is so true. I saw a oncologist because they were specialized in removing growths. My issues were non-cancerous, but that was the best surgeon available. My case was so complicated. Annette Polesana. And then Annette says, Mercy is amazing. I think she's referring to Mercy Hospital in Baltimore. Yes. And then Warimo says, yes, DMV would be the last place you'd expect to receive less than stellar care. Yeah, and it's happening. And then Bakora says, how about age sustainability or suitability. I'm not sure. Bakora, please confirm what exactly that is. I think there's a typo. And then Annette says, Henrietta Lux taught us that stellar care is not afforded to all here, especially black families. Bakora adds. You said we have a caller. Let's go to the caller.
Let us see. 7017. Thank you for calling the One Mike Show. Name and where you're calling from. 7017.
I'm calling from California.
Hey, California.
And what's your name?
Hey, California.
My name is Jerry. Since we're being Kenyan, Jerry.
Okay.
Jerry Karibu.
All right, Njeri, karibu
Hey,
sana.
kwa natia.
Yes, talk to us.
Asanteni sana.
Yeah, talk to us, Njeri.
I'm so glad to. Yeah, I'm so glad to be part of, to have been able to tune in, especially pertaining to this conversation. I'm actually 8 days post-op of a robotic myomectomy. It's such a tongue twister, but I'm actually on day 8 post-op. And I'm just so grateful for this conversation, especially for you, Wambui, because I can divinely so much relate. And I think it kind of gives you a better understanding and a better passion to be so self-aware and be an advocate for yourself. So for me, actually, this started last year. And that actually caused me to go to the ER because I was having symptoms after my period where I kept having a certain cramp on one side, which I'd never experienced before. And so when I went to the ER and they were able to do an ultrasound, and then that's when they said you had fibroids. Unbeknownst to me, that was my first time to even hear what fibroids were. I've kind of heard about cysts and all these other things. And so that immediately sparked my interest because I was like, this does not make sense. There has to be something pertaining to this happening as far as whether it's the hormones, the vitamins. So I became self-aware and I kind of just started doing my own research per se. And I think I started to kind of put 2 and 2 together. I would get heavier periods. I started getting, I realized that I was more tired than usual and just certain things, as one boy was mentioning, there's certain things as a person, if you have that intuition within yourself, you're tired than usual. I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. So I started going through my lab work because I would do that so consecutively. And then I noticed that my iron has always been below what it should be. I would have a high hemoglobin at 12 point something or 13. I mean, I'm fit, I do a lot and this and that. So I'm like, okay, that suffices everything else. But when I went further into it, I realized, wow, my ferritin is nowhere near where it's supposed to be. And that's the trajectory of all things pertaining to your hormones, vitamins, magnesium, neurotransmitters. I mean, everything. It's just so much deeper. And I think that kind of influences the estrogen dominance that fibroids cause. But also, I also realized that also vitamin D is a very crucial thing upon Black people, right? So I remember when I went to the ER and they said that you had the fibroids, this, that, and the third. And I went to this particular doctor. Of course, I don't know any better. And of course, but there's a distinctive difference and a correlation between that. So with her, I had a really huge reduction on my stomach, huge. And I remember her saying verbatim, I'm not going to take care of that one for now because all it'll mean is you'll just get more ultrasound as when you become pregnant. And so I remember just thinking to myself and saying, wow, so you're telling me if I was to have a child, my child is actually in a competition with the fibroid while I'm trying to grow the child because, the estrogen actually increases when you're pregnant because fibroids feed off of estrogen. And so I thought, wow, I don't think this is right. There's something off about this situation. But long story short, I was able to come across a female OB-GYN, a Black woman at that. And when I tell you she's been such a tremendous, supportive woman, and it kind of made the long wait worthwhile because surgery takes a while, this and all these other things. And come to find out, she actually was prompted to study OB-GYN by actually going to Kenya to do missionary. Alienda Uganda, Kenya, alienda South Africa, Tanzania. So she has a passion for it.
Wow.
And as we all know, fibroids are amongst the most dominant ones amongst Black women. And so with this, it's taught me so much, whereby yani mtu akikosa kujichunga ama unajiangalia ama unajijua vipoa ama usikize kila kitu pertaining to your life, mtu unaweza jiweka kwa position mbaya sana when you rely on somebody, as Wambui was saying. You think they're educated and they're going to lead you in the right place and space. But I think if I wouldn't have had the guidance of the doctor that I've actually been working with, it would have just changed the whole trajectory. Hata saa hii maybe hata sijui ningekuwa nikidu. Unaona? Alafu inafika point imekuwa mbaya kabisa, alafu unajiuliza kwa nini ni mbaya na mwili yangu. And then with that, you prolong your fertility. And most of them will actually suggest that you get a hysterectomy, have your ovaries taken and everything, because it's easier for them not to surgically go into that in depth and the risk that comes with that anyway. And so, you know, when you're going through something, of course, you're going to find relatability, right? So I'm on Reddit, you know, you go on TikTok, you try to see situations that you're going to be able to relate with. And you see these stories of like women who are like under 28, 26, 25, who are saying, I just had to get a hysterectomy. And now that chance of being a mother has kind of been taken from me, you know? But this topic is, I think, something that should be much more crucial amongst women, amongst Black women, actually Africans. Ndio tuna affectiwa sana, especially hata wa Kenya. But I think now there's that open dialogue, and it's actually causing people to be very mindful and have these conversations. Na tuwachange hiyo ignorance ya kusema ati hatujui hiyo ni nini, sijui nini. But I'm just glad that I was able to listen to this conversation. And Wambui, mad ops to you. I can so relate. The pain is so severe, but it's, I think, worthwhile beyond anything.
Wow.
I think it's more so of a chance to reclaim that sense of health that you essentially can't control, because you're constantly in inflammation, you're constantly tired. And you're doing everything right on your part, but due to the estrogen dominance and how much inflammation and water retention that you hold on to, that any effort that you do can't really be seen because it kind of succumbs over your body until all of it is released. Unajua, nika your sponge, inashinda tu, inaichukua, and then that's that. But I'm just grateful that I'm healing. But I think after this experience, it's certainly opened up my eyes to an entirety. And any opportunity I can get to talk about this, I feel it's a duty for any person, any woman who has gone through this, and also to educate the men.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
I think that's a very vital key.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Thank you for all that.
Oh, thank you so much, Njeri. And we really
From
appreciate
California,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. It's very important to educate the men. Before you go, Njeri, let me just let Wambui here in studio maybe say a word or two to you, because you guys are making this connection.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that you're strong enough to talk and call us post-op day 8. Did I even know my name? You know, like you basically just came out of surgery the other day, and I'm so glad you found a doctor to connect with, and you sharing your testimony highlights why this is such a problem. Like, I think earlier, Amosh, when we started the show, you were like, shouldn't there be a care coordinator who tells you where to go? And like,
normally, if you're going to surgery, they normally
this is so complicated.
I've seen and maybe it's a hospital thing. I don't know.
It's not. And that's what makes it that's part of the injustice with this, is that the onus really is on you as a patient. How Njeri shared, she's there, she's spent the whole day in the ER. Nobody likes to be in the ER. And then she's seeing the same results as the doctor. And the doctor's like, you know, like, and you have to advocate and be like, no, I want you to look at that. I would like you to pay attention to that.
Correct.
You know, so like this disease or these diseases, which that's what they are. It's crazy how little support that they get. Like, and I think I'm so glad to even hear from other African women that are like, yes, let's talk about this, let's change that. Like, I think, a generational thing where maybe our moms and our grandmothers didn't talk about this.
They maybe didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't
even
know.
Or maybe they're not aware, or
They
maybe
didn't
there are
have
no
options.
options. Yeah.
They didn't even
Right,
know
right.
because,
Yeah.
you know, like she was telling us, you know, she's being told your fibroids. Then you meet somebody who knows, tells you, here, you're being hit 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
trifecta.
So Njeri,
Thank you, Njeri.
Njeri, thank you so much. What part of California are you from? Are you from the Bay or are you from South LA?
Unibe.
SoCal.
Oh,
yeah.
SoCal. Okay, yeah, because I was
Hata
in
sio magharibi, hiyo magharibi ya coast hiyo.
Yes, I was in contact with some people from the Bay Area. There's an expert that I'm gonna get from there, and I promise you guys next month we'll actually have an expert, you know, like on this topic, and we'll stay in touch. And we'll keep talking about this because I think this is
It's very important.
very important, especially for the men. At least the women have some
and
understanding
I
of
commend you guys
it.
for having that topic. It's important. And one more thing to tell other people and everybody, and one voice can attest to this. You gotta advocate for certain exams that they're not gonna offer. They're gonna say, "Oh my God, we can't give you vitamin D exams. We can't do ferritin. These are on special circumstances. You can't take your TSH, T3, T4." You gotta let them know because guess what? They don't understand what you're going through. And as we all know, Black people in general, we're the most neglected in the hospital setting. So if you don't tell them ahead of time, and all these things will be a trajectory of telling you where these symptoms are coming from. You can't put a Band-Aid on something and you're not fixing the root of the problem. Just like what Wambui was saying, if you know, with the endometriosis, if you don't have that extracted, it's just another thing upon another thing. If she would have been taken care of from the gate, this wouldn't have been something that she would have had to experience 3 times or even more. Because then it's your womb. That's your special place. That's your uterus. It's something that you don't take lightly or joke with, you know. And that's something that I think everybody should be able to say without any hesitation, any question. And this has taught me to be very, very, very mindful and very assertive in being able to advocate for myself. Because if you don't, they won't do it, you know. So,
hey, Njeri.
but I thank you guys so much.
Njeri,
Thank you so much for calling in, and
a quick recovery.
Our heart goes out to you. Yes, quick
recovery.
Thank you.
And please, please
yes,
keep
thank you,
in touch
Wambui.
with
Take
us.
care. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you so much. Wow, you know, like that is personal stories, you know, like coming through.
And speaking of advocating for self, I think when we were doing the show prep, you know, I mentioned how you remember Serena Williams, during her pregnancy. Like there are certain things that were not being done or something was not right going on, but she had to. I'm talking about this Serena Williams. This is the GOAT of tennis.
But would we say this is a problem with the profession? Because if it's common, if it's a common thing that people have to advocate for themselves, and I think that's why I think we need professionals in this too, to get their perspective so that we can also understand their pain points. Why it seems there are so many doctors out there who will do something that is fairly, you know, like careless. But because most people don't understand, they will just go ahead and do it. So is it a problem in the profession, or is there something from the inside that we don't know? Maybe Wambui, you can react to that.
So I think it's a little bit of both. Like when you look at the history of gynecology, Annette mentioned this in the comments about Henrietta Lacks, who, for those of you who don't know, was a Black woman in Baltimore who went to Johns Hopkins. She had ovarian cancer. The doctors scraped her without her authorization, and those cells that he scraped have led to innovation in terms of medications and all these other things. So with gynecology in particular as a medical profession, it was, you know, it started with men, and they just, the understanding at the time, or their lens was like, the uterus is not that important. It's really just there to help a woman give birth. Other than that, it's useless. You know, like I think even though in Greek, hyst is for uterus, but it's like hysterical, like it was always kind of explained to be as why, you know, the things that make people look down on women, it was like, oh, it's because she has a uterus. Like, it just was not as valued as an organ as other parts of the body. And so to answer your question, I think those roots were part of the problem, right? So like for me, I ended up connecting with this Dr. Peters, who's a female. She's white, she's German. But even for her, like, she's like, yeah, the older doctors just, they're not even really like educated in laparoscopy or things like that. So because when I ended up going to see her, the thing she was telling me, I was like, it's too good to be true. She's like, you don't have to sleep at the hospital. I'm like, what? Every time I've had an operation done, they're like, no, you have to be hospitalized, you know? And then with endometriosis, one key thing that I would like people to know, it can't be medically managed, which Jerry did repeat that. And then even the medications that they put you on are so pricey. I would like you guys to guess how much it costs.
Wow. I'm gonna say 255,000.
Okay. When you say the medication, are you talking about when you're taking your prescription in?
I would say $87,569.
Can we have serious guesses, please?
Shit. Oh wow! So are we on the higher side, or
I would probably say something like maybe $3,000 a pill.
Okay, you're actually close. Even with insurance, I think mine was costing $1,489
per. Is that
for a month?
For a month.
Yeah, of the supply.
And is that's catered for by insurance, or is it partially paid for by insurance?
No, like that's after they pay their share.
That's after the insurance.
Yeah.
So this is out of pocket.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, and they pay 80% and you're paying 20. So okay.
Because because you were I don't know, we got into this train of thought because you were asking why are things the way they are.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it just was not really that valued to be studied. So even with these medications, a lot of them are not like what they call your first generation, right? Where it's like Tylenol is supposed to take care of your headache.
Yes.
Right? But if they figure out like, hey, Tylenol also helps with XYZ, it's like, oh, well, use Tylenol for that, right? Like a lot of these meds were like for men to help them with like prostate cancer, things like that. And then it's like, oh, it does this on the women. Okay. But then, of course, we're in a capitalist society, right? So these companies go and renew the patents, and that keeps the prices up. And then even though it's something so common as 10% of women having it, if you don't know that you have this condition because the doctors aren't catching it or those kind of things, then you're kind of just, you know.
Wow. You know, like
yes,
you're tuned into the One Mic Show, and this is very educative, but also very scary at the same time. You know, like
I'm in
understanding
pain. I'm in pain already.
How deep it is. A couple of comments here. Kenya Doe from Houston says, kudos One Mic for creating space for this discussion. And then this Odhiambo Dak says, when I was pregos, I also had fibroids. My whole body was swollen and I had to get physical therapy the entire pregnancy. Since by month 3, I looked like I was due. I am lucky I survived. Wow. You know, and you know here, the funny thing is that this is someone we know.
Yeah.
She's someone we know. And
does she still have the fibroids?
And we are finding out this for the first time.
And you know, actually, we were in touch with her a lot during the whole pregnancy.
Yes.
I remember anyway.
So this is actually,
and she never shared.
This is actually very personal. And I think, you know, like sometimes also women are in this situation where they're like, I don't want to stress, you know, like everyone else around me.
You're alone.
Yeah. So and that's why it's important for men to be educated in this. St. Clair says, Wambui, you are so strong with your beautiful smile. It is hard to imagine you went through all this. How did you handle mental health in this case? Because it is so tough. Maybe you can react to what St. Clair is saying.
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. It absolutely takes a psychological toll on you. because like for me, one of the symptoms that I had is what, for those of us who have gone through this, called the gush. And it kind of sounds cute, but it's far from cute. It's like, I'm so scared I'm gonna bleed through clothes. I'm so scared I'm gonna soil somebody's couch. So yeah, it absolutely took a toll on me mentally, because you don't want to go places, right? Because you're like, I don't know what I might encounter there. What if I run out of this? What if I run out of that? So I think for how did I deal with it mentally, a couple ways. Like, honestly, at some point I just was so mad at the world. There was that phase, and I just really needed to sit with that and feel it. Then I was also very fortunate in terms of having family support. Like,
Oh, wow. That
literally,
is very important.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
people took time off of their jobs or asked for permission to work from home if they could, that kind of thing, to be there with me. So that also strengthened me, because I wasn't in it by myself, right? And then also, when we started to realize, like, it's not a one and done thing. It's not like one surgery and you're done, that it's a chronic illness and it has different phases. Their posture was one of more of curiosity than of judgment, you know? And that was also part of the reason I wanted to have this conversation, was because for a lot of us, we come from communities where there's nurses. And in some ways, those nurses are helpful, and in other ways, they're not. But I think it's a team approach. The same way that, you know, if you heard that somebody has a heart issue, you might be like, I don't really know what that means, but I can be there for them. I think it's just learning how can I be there for you, you know? Like, one of the most generous questions that I would be asked, like when people would come to my place and cook for me, is like, what's your diet? So for me, like, because I would get inflamed, I had to be on a low sodium diet. So for all the people who'd be like, okay, I'll come and I'll cook, but then steka chumvi, is it fine? Like, just to taste it. Like, yeah, so those are the things that helped me get through it. And then honestly, I don't know if you can see my camera. My hand, yeah. But this is my hospital band from the last operation that I had. And I haven't taken it out because I still use it as a way to
Remind yourself.
give myself grace.
Okay.
You know, like, oh man, I thought I would look like this. It's summertime, right? Like, there's certain dresses I'm not wearing because sometimes I get bloated. So for me, when I see this, it's like, hey, your course is a little bit different. You can still go through it, but you're not gonna go through it at the pace of a Kenyan runner.
Wow. Okay. Now, you talked about nurses in the community and people within the Kenyan community who are in the healthcare space. Because there's quite a number of Kenyans who are in the healthcare space. And I'm wondering, where exactly is the disconnect? Because if we are so deep into healthcare, how come, especially us men, we are finding out about these things? We are finding out about some of these things in these conversations, because if you're talking 4 out of 5, that means there are definitely women in our families who have these issues. If you're talking about 1 in 10, there's also a very high likelihood that there are women in our families that have these issues. But it's never been, like the way cancer is a big deal. Like there's certain things. He's diabetic. It's a big deal. But this, it's kind of like I've heard it. Like I particularly know one person in my extended family who had fibroids. But it's kind of like it's not really, especially the men. Like here I'm speaking for the men. There's clearly not much awareness on this.
There isn't. And again, let us just, there's you just hear fibroids, endometriosis, you hear, but, there's no knowledge.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just another medical term.
It is.
Yeah.
You don't know it is a disease. You don't know who it's affecting. And chances, even if you've got, maybe if you have daughters.
Yeah.
Because, we have mothers, we have sisters.
Because listen to this description. Listen to this description that Wambui gave me. She sent me a description that said, fibroids are a thief of time, missed work, appointments, surgeries, energy, chronic fatigue, heavy bleeding, freedom, restricted activities, constant planning around symptoms, confidence, bloating, body image issues, emotional toll, reproductive choice can lead to infertility, miscarriages, or painful decisions, peace, the mental and emotional strain of not being believed or properly diagnosed. This is wow. This is very painful. You know, like I don't know how else to describe this. Let me go through some more comments here and hear
I think
what
you
people are
stopped
saying.
your story because you were going through like when you met your current doctor, the lady from Mercy.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, but let me
Let me
read
read some comments and then
then
we're
you
gonna get
continue
back to it.
because
Okay.
yeah.
So Iremo says, Wambui and Jerry, my heart goes out to you both.
Oh, we have a caller too.
I agree. A black OB-GYN is a must for us. I intentionally sought a black female physician. Ignatius Njuguna says, I am an African man. We don't cry. But on seeing Wambui's gigantic tumor, I cried as I watched. Mercy, grace. Bakora, our women choose to do it abroad, especially Africa, cause it's cheap. And then St. Clair says, for the sake of all ladies who may be unaware, and for the men who may not know about this, would it be possible for you to highlight any preventative measures that can be taken on each to avoid such? I want you to make note of that. Maybe you can talk about that. And then St. Clair Father says, situations also share any available support systems within our society that can assist women in our community, especially here in the US, where life can quickly become lonely. We're going to get back to that, St. Clair. That's a very good question. And then Rachel Kimani says, congratulations, Wambui. Thank you for sharing your journey. We have I don't know, it's Shai Moses. Thank you for sharing. Stay strong. Leo YouTube watu wameamka. Yeah, Facebook ndo watu wako lazy kidogo, but we're gonna go back to Facebook. But I think let me quickly check if we have any comments on Facebook. If not, we are gonna go. Let me check. Watu wa Facebook leo melala kidogo.
I think wanasikiza tu.
Yeah, so let's go.
They're
Let's go to
learning.
the caller.
I think they are shocked.
Yeah.
They're shocked.
Yeah.
All right. 0931. Thank you for calling the One Mic Show. Name and where you're calling from.
Thank you very much. My name is Monica Wanjiru Galaya. You can call me Monique. In Boston, in Massachusetts.
Karibu,
I
Monica.
greet you. Yes, thank you so much. I greet you all. First and foremost, I greet our very own Wambui Kamau. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming out. I must say that you are very bold. You are very bold, and we cannot thank you enough. On behalf of all men and women, Wambui, you are very old and you are very courageous. I'm talking I'm a black female. I am a mother. I'm also a wife. I'm also a grandmother. I'm also an auntie. I'm also a teacher, and I'm also a caregiver. And I just want to make a comment. When I saw Wambui that she's going to talk about it, I just started wondering, what is she going to talk about? Because lately, many people, they are willing to talk about many topics, but matters concerning sexuality, they shy away. So, Wambui, you are one in a million. Some of the reasons why sexuality issues people really want to talk about, because there are a lot of misconceptions and misinformation. And before I highlight some of them, I also want to take this moment to thank Wambui's family. We had the father, the brother, and the caregivers, and the doctor for the kind of the family support you gave her during those trying moments. We have had cases whereby people go through a lot of treatment, and due to lack of good support, they get depressed, and things turn out to be very ugly. So thank you very much for your family for that kind of support they gave you. We also heard that it's not easy to go through it financially, and also being in diaspora, it can get very lonely. I want to highlight some of the misconceptions that are really affecting this problem. Wambui should have told the men there, I see 3 handsome men who are facing you, and then Wambui, you have all the courage to talk to them. At one point in life, all men and women either get infected or get affected by these diseases. Let's call them diseases. Some men may say that, how am I going to get a fibroid? Let me say that we might get fibroids, but our men will also get affected in one way or the other, because it could be your spouse, your sister, your relative, or your friend, or even a good friend, or even a neighbor. Let's see some of the misconceptions. We know, like we Africans, clearly we don't talk about sexual matters openly, because there's a tendency that the more we talk about it, we are encouraging or promoting sexual activity. That means if I talk to my 10-year-old daughter about the fibroids, I'll be opening her like now you are ready for sex, or introducing her to very risky behavior. That is why, even as parents, we shy away to talk about sexual matters, even knowing that we are providing these young people with knowledge and skills. Another thing, I'm from Africa, Muranga, Mavioya County. Back in Muranga, our grandmothers and grandfathers, even today, even the professionals, they don't want to talk about the sexual matters, even like things like fibroids, and have been there even with our shosho and my aunties. For the reason being, they believe that it is a threat to traditional values. Fibroids. Now our boy is educating our young to be naughty. In our traditions, they should wait until they become mature. So at the same time, we also have our religious values that we feel that we should not be talking about anything related to sex. And at one point, people see like fibroids or these diseases like they are more sexual. They fail to address, the cause and the reason why people are getting fibroids. At the same time, when I was a teacher, there was a time we were supposed to include sexual education in our curriculum, and it faced a lot of opposition. The reason being, there's this debate. People want to know, Wambui, who's going to teach our children about fibroids? Is it the teacher or the parents? Therefore, the curriculum doesn't really want to address this. And that's why, even right here, if you check carefully on their curriculum, not many curriculum all over the world want to address sexual issues or sexual matters. And even in the higher running, you're going to, maybe I'm right or I could be wrong, Wambui in the group, there is inadequate implementation and the funding, even on research. And even where people are attempting to talk about these issues, you find that there are no resources, no teachers, no implementers to these issues. And back to the point, there is a great fear of controversy. In fact, many people tonight, they were telling me, how is Wambui going to talk about it? How will the community feel about it? Are we supposed to teach people about fibroids? Yet they know that these diseases, they are even killing. There is a lot of trauma. I remember, I've had people going also through this. When you go to the doctor, able to have an inquiry, and especially if you meet a male doctor during the diagnosis, when they're trying to get the information from you, Some of them, they get even very personal. They want to know, how did you get fibroids? Some would even put like the family history. It's like almost a curse in some communities. So even during treatment, it is very discouraging. And I don't want to say that, like, if you are female, at one point, Wambui told us that it works well if you get a female doctor, and especially a black doctor, because it is a lot, and especially with the diagnosis and treatment, and also with the support.
Okay.
But I want to thank Wambui once again. A time has come. Thank you so much, because we need to create awareness. We need to educate our people. We need to educate our men, because they also get affected. We also get to know that even the insurance, they're very reluctant, on supporting you on some issues or some cases like the fibroids. Yeah, they're going to tell you that you're going to pay 20% and there's going to be out of pocket, which is very costly.
Wow.
Let me tell you, as a wind up, a time has come. And don't say that it is only affecting our women. It is also affecting you. Kwa vile wahenga walisema, mtego wa panya huingia waliokuwemo na wasiokuwemo. Thank you so much, and back to you, and thank you, Wambui. This is Monique from Boston.
Hey, thank you, Monique.
Auntie Monique has
Auntie
laid
Monique,
it down.
yes.
She has laid it
She's laid it down.
Bila bricks.
Yes.
Yani she
And I inject.
I mean, these are the moments that you can never script.
No,
Nope.
you can't. You can't.
You can't script
cannot,
this.
no.
And it just shows that this is a very hot topic.
It is.
That I think, like now in hindsight, I know we've talked about infertility issues some years back.
Yes.
But I think, and like I promised, there's some experts from the Bay Area who contacted me when they saw this topic. And next month, next month, we're going to have an expert. We will let you know the date so that now we can hear from the expert perspective. I mean, of course, right now we are getting, like the personal story, which is...
This is a subject matter expert.
Yeah, which is so profound. So there was a question that came here from...
But before Monique goes, I'm so glad that she called and is enlightening us on all these topics. Like she said, not only as a woman, but as a mom, a grandmother, an aunt, and as a teacher. Like she just has...
And a caregiver.
Yes. How could I? Yes. And a caregiver, because, like that thinking that she outlined is what has led to suffering, honestly, because like she said, the stigma around it, right? When I remember growing up and I would have pain and then nambiwa endola lekwa floor, like the floor will take care of you.
Will take care of the pain. Oh.
And then also the responsibility that is put on you as men. Like when it comes to sexual matters, it's like, oh, when you get married, your man is kind of like a key to you and he'll be able to figure you out or whatever. But these are conditions that when you look at the toll that they're taking on us are affecting the entire population, right? Like you can't have a strong country, a strong nation, a strong economy or anything when people are bleeding.
I mean, there's that toll, and there's a mental toll also.
There's a mental toll,
and also like Moni said, men, you will get either you'll get infected or affected.
Yeah.
Chago ni moja.
Yeah, and Maura was asking a question here, and I'm not sure
Thank you so
exactly
much,
what he
Moni.
meant. He was like, let's also touch what men go through a loss. I don't know exactly.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
probably...
So Maura rephrased that, rephrased that in a way that we can understand.
Na mwenye story amenyamaza.
Yes, and then Hapa Kaiser Soze anasema good evening all. Thank you so much for tuning in Afro Jamaican. And then there was this issue that I don't want us to lose it that St. Clair asked. And I'm going to read St. Clair's comment again. She's asking, for the sake of all ladies who may be unaware And for the men who may not know about this, would it be possible for you to highlight any preventative measures that can be taken to avoid such, and then to avoid such situations? And then also, please share any available support systems within our society that can assist women in our community, especially here in the US, where life can quickly become lonely. Wambui.
That's a great question. So unfortunately, because they don't know the exact cause, it's hard to say how you can prevent this, but some things do help. Being in shape helps. Eating well helps. Hormonal balance, which, you know, some people try to control that on their own. But like if you have a qualified doctor who understands, they can help you regulate those emotions correctly, and then they can also tell you affordable ways for that. So like I was saying, the medication that was costing about $1,500, when I ended up seeing Dr. Peters, she was like, oh, you know, you can just use a manufacturer's coupon. And I was like, huh?
Wow.
Yeah. Brought the cost down to $5.
Teacher. What do you mean by a manufacturer's coupon? Because at the point in time when you are being asked for this money, it's not like you went to those things that we get that has a coupon somewhere. Or is there a coupon somewhere that you're given by the people in the hospital who supply the medication?
So that's why your medical team is so important, because they know how to navigate these things, you know, like, yeah, I don't know. That's what I can say to that. Because, yeah, as a patient, I'm not thinking that far ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm I want relief. Even if it's $1,500, ntaipata somehow, some way, you know? That's where your head is at. But, yeah, having people who understand those nuances within the medical system make a huge difference. And then the second part of the question was about resources that can help people. So some of the resources that can help people are their support groups, even on social media. Like there's Endo Black in Baltimore, there's Be More Flow. So in wherever you live, there tends to be chapters that can help people and different forms of help. So sometimes it's just, you know, going on there and then you see that someone else has those symptoms and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not alone in this, or certain things that help people. So for me, one of the things that helped when I had heavy bleeding was there's a, gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking out on it, but there's a supplement you can buy on Amazon, like $20. And like I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, people in the support group are saying this is helpful. Can I take it? And she looked at the ingredients and she was like, yeah, try it. You know, so that helped me. But it was that like, vila mesema huku ni kwa kamkunji, right? Like yo kuambiana.
Yes.
People's kamkunji.
People's kamkunji.
Yeah. Like that sharing of information, because that is affecting someone's not just their health, but even their financial health, right? You would like for somebody to pay you $1,500, but not for you to spend
$1,500.
Yeah, especially when you can spend $5 or $20. And then also in Kenya, there's a group called Endo Kenya. Elsie Wandera is a healthcare activist who has also had, you know, suffered through endometriosis to the point where she lost her ovaries, and having a child was, you know, naturally or biologically was not an option for her, but she's taken her pain into purpose. And then also another good thing about being connected to these groups is you can also learn about research opportunities, you know, because there are universities or certain places that are looking for a patient population so that we can help the next generation of girls and young women. And I don't know if one of the questions there was asking like how this affects men. Like, I don't know if they were getting at maybe like if we have mood swings and that takes a toll on you. I'm not sure.
So I think what Muroki, you know, like might have, you know, and I don't know whether he corrected what he was saying, but I think what he meant is that because as men, we do not understand this, and there's certain stereotypes that exist about women. Like, like akona mood swings, ama ako hivi na ako vile. Is how do we get this awareness to men that when a woman is in this situation, she's not just looking for attention. It's possibly she's in pain. It's possibly, like she's bleeding. It's possibly that she could be going through something where she just needs someone to show her some kind of support. And I think that's really what Maura is asking. And I would love for the men to talk today. Men are kind of, like...
we are learning.
Yeah, and they're out there listening. But I think it's important for men to talk. I like the fact that Sambaza, like earlier, like talked about it. And I think it's also important for men who've had experience maybe with family members, like spouses, maybe daughters or mothers, sisters who've gone through this, to maybe just also tell us their experience. I'm now interested in talking to your dad. I've never met him, but just from listening to him in that audio clip that we played, I'm actually now very interested in getting him here at Kilimanjaro Studios, just to give us that experience, especially of an African father, because these are things that are kind of like taboo. Like maybe the mother would deal with it, but I'd love to hear his experience. And when another man talks, men are gonna listen. They're gonna pay attention.
He's listening. Dad, call in.
Share
your perspective, Dad.
Dad. 202.
That may not be ready
683
to unleash
4570. Press *5 to speak, because I think that is very important, especially for the men. A lot of the women who've called in, who are listening, like they're tuned in, they know this, they understand it, and that's why it comes as a shock to us, because we kind of have had these things, but I think getting this detail of not only just the stress, the pain, but also the emotional toll that it's taking on you, that you have to plan around. I can't just call you, Wambui, let's go and do this. So you have to think, you have to plan around, you have to ask, is there going to be such and such a facility there? Is this going to be there? And that to me is what is has been the big value add in today's conversation. I want to remind the listeners that you're tuned in to the One Mic Show. I'm your host and producer, Ali Badawi. We are talking to award-winning journalist from Baltimore's YPR 88.1 FM, Miss Wambui Kamau. She's talking about her personal health journey and silent medical conditions stealing women's health and reproductive choices. We'll shortly be talking about benchmarks we can use to self-check if we are media literate, especially on these health issues. Like you have to self-check to know if you're getting an interaction with the correct media, to know things that are happening around you. So keep it locked for that and more. Wambui will also give us a formula on how to regulate our media diet to ensure it's balanced. Because ni kama chakula, ni kama msosi. It's like your health. It has to be balanced. So again, type yes or no if you think you are media literate or not, and let us know why. And we're going to tie this media literacy to these health issues that we are talking about. And then I think we have Mika, we have Mika on the line, who has also been keenly paying attention, following what's been going through. And let's hear from Mika. Mika going once.
Mika should be able to talk.
Okay.
Hapa sijanyonga.
Is it that he has hit the mute button on his side?
No, I think I think also it's we're all in that for lack of a better word, in that overwhelm phase.
Shocketh.
And we this is definitely a conversation that needs to
it's a very heavy topic, and I'll say it, I think especially if you're a parent of a girl child, it's a very, very heavy topic, because then now you see we are sitting over here and we're talking all of this stuff, and you start thinking back to your toy, and you're like, lakini huyu mtoi amekuwa akicomplain sana
Yeah.
hiyo time ya kunyesha.
Yeah, especially
ama kuna vitu zingine zimekuwa now you're like okay, should I be rethinking this? Maybe all those stories au madaktari wamekuwa kanipea hogwash, and we need to come back to this again, because we tend to believe every single thing that these medical professionals give us, and not realizing that kiasi kuna lack of knowledge, B, kuna ubaguzi, because it's really more like us black people are the ones who tend to have it, or we are the ones who basically have these issues. And so a lot of, the doctor population, you're going to them, it's almost like either you know or you don't know. And the ones who don't know, it's not like they're telling you they don't know. They'll just basically brush you off and tell you, here, take an aspirin and keep it moving. You know, but meanwhile, this thing is just metastasizing. It just continues, it's growing. It gets to a point where sasa, kuna tumbo aches, uwezi kula, tumbo imefura, it's like you're on blood central. When you get to that time of the month, then the pain is at a level uko juu na ujagonga dhate.
Yeah, I know. You're still in your 20s, yeah.
Yes, aujagonga dhate. But because you've lived with this for so long, and everything you have been told is that, you just happen to be one of those, and there's nothing unusual about these ukosawa. But meanwhile, you just keep blocking, I guess I'd say, your blessings, because there's really the lack of information, and people are not out there pushing and helping and helping shape you. And one thing, that keeps coming out, even with, when Wambui is talking, it's like she had to have multiple attempts at trying to get this right. Surgeries, with 3 different docs, and then now your third time, then it's like now you actually found somebody who seemingly understands this and is helpful and is telling you, okay, walk down this path, go down this way, do this. The expenses behind it, because can you imagine if those pills are costing 1,500 here out of pocket? What about those ones in Kenya?
I know. Yeah, this is
with or without insurance.
Yeah,
and believe you me, if insurance here is saying you're on your own, what do you think insurance in Kenya is saying?
Now that's another. Yeah,
how at a diagnosis watakwambia boss.
Not even that. I think even Kenya, I think it's just like here, but Kenya sometimes it's money making.
Kenya, I think if you have money, you're gonna get good healthcare. If you have good money,
right,
you're gonna get good healthcare. But
I think even if you've got good money, you have money, there's a propensity to want to gorge. They just want to. They want to. Even if you have money, they will still want.
They'll want to squeeze.
Of course, because they will. Like now, for example, you're sent in. You've got pneumonia, or you something.
Then they start finding other
so
things.
they wanna take X-rays. Then they take another X-ray, and then an X-ray, and then an X-ray. Then stay here. We want to monitor you. These are stories that I hear from people who are nurses here. Like when they hear something, they hear a diagnosis, or wanasikia, okay, aliyemeingishwa, alikuwa nasema nini, alikuwa na complain nini, what happened? Okay, no, all he needs is this. Lakini what you've been prescribed for is probably worth 100,000.
Yeah,
right?
Navigating healthcare in Kenya is a whole entire different story.
I may tell you, it's a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's a science, and anyone who's looking to relocate, I think this is one of the sciences. 2 things you have to understand the science of when you're going back to Kenya: education if you have kids, and then of course the healthcare part. Especially when you're moving back with your family, that's a science that you have to learn. A couple of comments still coming here. Rusinga TV kusao comment yako. Rusinga TV said, Wambui is a true NPR lady. Keep up the good work. Thanks for sharing your story.
Hajamaliza story yake.
And then Rachel Rachel Kimani says, congratulations Wambui, thank you for sharing your journey. I think I already read that one. And then Annette brings a very important point here. She says that these issues can cause a lot of hidden relationship strain. especially if the man does not have a good understanding of what this is.
So like Monica was saying, affected.
Yes, kabisa. And actually Ignatius Njuguna is saying, Aunt Monique ameita kijiko. African men especially, we need more of this dosage. Can one mic regularize these informational insights? We promise we are going to do it. We're just finding out that this is
telling
a
our
very
own
critical
stories.
Topic. Yeah. This is going to be part of our story. And then Apa Annette Karanja says, always ask about coupons, samples, and discounts. So these are the things that people need to know.
And you see, now Annette is telling us.
Yeah.
And all this time.
She hasn't even mentioned anything.
Imagine. And she had all this at
and then
Annette, we see you.
Yeah, Bakora says, learned so much. Uzee na watoto ni ngori. Fibroids, age, ni noma. Wambui na Mbogia one mic, asante. And then Pan-African Kenya nasema assalamu alaikum from Nairobi. And
alaikum salam.
Yes, and then let me see here. Leo on Facebook, Dr. Moses Osoro, Lenana School changes. But anyway, no, ngoja ni so let me read what Dr. Moses is saying. Let me read.
No, but he does this all the time.
He's a doctor.
No, it's okay.
But he's a doctor.
It's okay.
Because
it's okay.
we produce a lot of doctors.
It's okay. Like Sakaja. Carry on.
Kawe wacha hizo hapo bana. But so
Teams University.
Yeah, so Dr. Moses Osoro from Texas. Asema great work Wambui on shedding light on this condition. I agree with being an advocate for yourself whenever you go see a doctor. Also get a second opinion if you're not satisfied with the answers you're getting. Joining a support group on any condition that you may be experiencing can be very helpful in getting more information and resources. Elsie Wandera, founder of Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya, is also a great resource. So nuggets being dropped. Dr. Moses Osoro, thank you so much. Then Akinya Doyo from Houston, Texas says, this is powerful. The empathy of men towards women's womb journey reminds us that healing is not a woman's burden alone. When the men in our lives stand with us, listen to us, and honor our bodies, the womb finds ease. Supportive relationships are medicine too. They remind us that what I'm feeling in this room today is powerful. The empathy of men towards women's womb journeys, it reminds us that healing is not a woman's burden alone. When the men in our lives stand with us, listen to us, and honor our bodies, the womb finds ease. Supportive relationships are medicine too. They remind us that none of us heals in isolation. We heal in connection. Of us heals in isolation. We heal in connection. Hapo kuna some poetry. Yeah, there's some poetry going on.
Kuna poetry hapo.
There's some poetry going on. I thought it was my poetry, but I think this is we're gonna give credit to.
Bro.
I think we're gonna give credit to Akinyi, but yeah. So yeah, wow, this has been so profound.
Before we continue,
yes,
this one was still because I think she left off when she first met Dr. Peters, and then what so now you started finding out, should tell you you don't have to go home. You have to go, you can go home, you don't have to sleep. Like, what was that for? Because you're moving, you've come from being told surgery upon surgery. Then she comes and tells you, by the way, I think she's the one who found out that ulikuwa umechapwa trifecta, right? And once you've been hit with the trifecta, now what is your state of mind then? Okay, then what is her? So what did she alikwambiaje? So this is how we are going to tackle this. I also had another question in addition to that. When you talk about you did not want to use cut-up, but it's more like an incision or precision or something like that. How do they go about? Is there a particular place they have to go through to go inside, then to scrap or to use the flame thing before? Maybe if you can just do that before we proceed to the next one.
Yeah, no, so I think I had a lot of reactions vile alinielezea vitu, because I was like, on one hand it's a relief, like, oh, could it be haya ndio maana siponangi out, like naponanga temporarily, like it made sense. She was like, yeah, wanafungua wanatoa kitu lakini nasumbua hizo vitu zingine that they're not addressing.
Yeah.
So shida bado iko.
Yeah.
So on one hand it's like, when you just feel seen. But on another hand, unasikia tu like moshi natoka kwa masikio, because you're like, how come I came here and in like 10 minutes of a conversation with you, you figured all this out, and this has been years of a mystery, and go to this doctor, and go to that doctor, and are you following doctor's orders, so it was that kind of duality, I guess, emotionally, like bittersweet. Like I'm so happy to know to have answers, but I'm so frustrated that it took this long. And then as for the incisions, so when they do it laparoscopically, what they do is they try to go in places where surali taificha. So one way they can do it is go through your belly button.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if that matters whether your belly button is in or out, but that's one entry point. So, and then they have like they use, it's the one I know is the Da Vinci, but it's all these different robots that izo sasa ndio like your mkono robot ndio itaingia, but you still need the surgeon skill to be able to spot the lesions that aren't supposed to be there. And then wanakata, and then they, I don't know, still through your belly button, they squeeze this thing that's like a Ziploc bag. And then you're under anesthesia, of course. So they blow up your tummy. That way they can also blow up the bag, put all that stuff in, and then they vacuum seal it again.
And then they remove it.
Yeah.
Wow. The skills needed.
So that's
crazy.
So basically, that golf ball we saw becomes.
That one she was.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Wambui, with all this, you're in media, you're very skilled in media. At what point, because a lot of these things, when you listen to NPR, for example, they're always talking about it, WAMU, WYPR, WBUR, I'm an addict to public media. So they're always talking about these random stories. One reason why I like it is that they make me enjoy things that I would typically not listen to. In some points they'll talk about fiction, they'll talk about this, so you're gonna get a little bit of everything here and there, and your curiosity is piqued. Because I'm the kind of person, I'm not gonna go read a medical journal or watch a medical documentary, but you're gonna get those neat 4-minute stories that tell you something about fibroids or something about this. So when it comes to when we talk of this media literacy, especially when it comes to health, which places should people be looking at to make sure that what they're consuming is at least reliable information? And I say this because during the pandemic, there was a lot of misinformation, some of it even coming from some fairly mainstream sources. And there was confusion. Some people were saying, oh, this pandemic is a hoax. Why are people being made to wear masks? These things were coming up. So
Fox News,
as a media practitioner, how would you advise people to approach media when it comes to matters health? Wambui.
So one thing I would approach is, first of all, maybe like a little bit of a message of caution that a lot of the health stories that are covered are not necessarily stories about us, right? Like for a lot of the health conditions that we go through, how many times are you seeing or hearing about the newest, I don't know, diabetes thing, or somebody who
or somebody
who lost a lot of weight or something to help them with high blood pressure.
So they're being underreported.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the first caution I would say, right? I don't have any numbers I can point to right now, but I'm just thinking for me, even and when I listen to a lot of news, I'm like, I know so much about skin cancer, which that's important to know, but also skin cancer is not something that really affects us that much, right? Like we have the melanin to help with that, but protect us, but can also, be like a blocker for vitamin D, which is part of the reason with like fibroids and all that. So yeah, I think I would start there by just saying, a lot of the health issues are not necessarily about us. And then also, there tends to be certain institutions that are like more credible than others. But even with that, you still need like a base of knowledge to really be able to dissect the information. So for example, like Mayo Clinic is a good one, or Johns Hopkins, but then they're also suffering from the same things that are happening in the society, right? So I don't know, I think this is a really tough one for me. Like, where do you go? I think, like, as someone who practices news at a local level, that's one way I would advise to look at, is because what happens in local communities varies. Like even here in Maryland, what's going on in Baltimore is so different than what's going on
in DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good place to look, is just your local resources.
Wow. Okay. All right. And as we are talking, Elsie Wandera is tuned in.
Oh, hey,
it was
Elsie.
so good to meet you, Wambui. This is, these are those things that you cannot script.
Ali, are you sure that's not Kizito Wazabanga?
No, that's not Kizito Wazabanga. That is Elsie Wandera on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Elsie,
welcome, Elsie.
We are also going to connect, and we'll try to get you on here. From Kenya, you will have to wake up at, is it 3 a.m. in the morning?
3?
Yeah.
Before we fall back.
Yes.
It's going to be 4, but right now we sprung forward.
So
it's 7 hours, so it's about 3.
So it's about 3 a.m. 2:30 testing.
Yeah, 2:30 testing.
Yeah, she'll go to sleep at 7.
She can go to 2:13.
At at least 2.
Yes.
And the Kadunda.
Yes. Yes. We really appreciate. And then I can see here, and Elsie she's already agreed. She said, yes, please, I'd love to. So Elsie, we're gonna get in touch, and we'll figure how to make this happen. Because I think it's also important to know how to navigate this in Kenya. Because I think navigating this in Kenya might be an entirely different.
So apparently this is Elsie.
Yeah.
This is Elsie.
So that picture there is Elsie.
That's her.
Okay. All right. Good. So Elsie,
is she watching herself?
She's watching herself.
So she's watching herself. She's seeing herself.
Yeah,
she's watching
Elsie
herself on the one
Elsie
mic
knows
show.
that she's there on the one
Yes.
mic show.
So now, we put her to task that she's promised live on air that she's gonna come. So we have receipts.
Zico?
Yeah, Zico. Yeah. So Elsie, we're gonna get in touch, because I think it's very important to know how to navigate this back home. Because guess what? A lot of you are sending money back home, and a lot of the money you're sending is going to treat conditions like this. Because guess what? Your relatives back home, some of them are also experiencing these issues. So I think it's important to know how best to deal with it and handle it in an efficient way and in an emotionally sensitive way. So asante sana, Elsie. And I think also, let me see, we have Apa Washeke. Washeke says in Siberia. I can't even remember the name of the city. That one.
Yeah.
So
that one.
Yeah. So Washeke is saying, I'm so happy we are having this discussion and hoping we can have a series on women's health. We face so many challenges due to systemic bias and sexism in healthcare, disparities in healthcare research funding. Between 2013 to 2023, less than 9% of NIH research grants went towards women's health. Compare that to men's healthcare that received twice as much funding. Before 1993, women were excluded from clinical trials. Pink tax. Women in the U.S. spend 18% more on healthcare than men. Sanitary products, which are so crucial when suffering, some of these conditions are so expensive and in some states are taxed more. Remember, there was a time in Kenya they wanted to tax this.
Yes.
It raised a whole
2024.
ruckus. Yeah. Well, it was in the 2024 finance bill.
Yes.
Part of the reason why, we had our Gen Zs killed out in the streets.
In addition to, women's health and stuff, there's, again, we don't understand a lot about menopause, perimenopause, premen.
Boss, Omera, that's another whole other chapter.
So by the way, the team from the Bay Area, they specifically want to talk about perimenopause and menopause.
So there we go.
So yes. So
we are learning that. We are telling our stories now. Yes. This is the place to tell our stories.
Yes, the people's Kamkunji.
Kabisa?
Yeah, Kamkunji si wanaume peke yake.
Hapana, it's the people.
Yeah, I know people sometimes see this as a very man-heavy set, but half of our audience is women.
Tuko na sensitivities. I don't understand why they are feeling nini.
Half of our audience is women. I think it's because maybe you guys sometimes are a bit aggressive. I'm the softer guy on the panel. You guys sometimes are a bit aggressive, but
Omera,
anyway, that's a story for another day.
He's a Changerian.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Na hapa Steven JJ anasema hizi conversation manze chonjo sana. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, and can I want to vouch for Elsie. Elsie will come through. And she's a great person to talk to because she knows about the research that's happening in Kenya, which I think is so unique, and just like we're talking about disparities that happen here, one thing that Elsie pointed out to me in our conversation was the lack of information or awareness in rural communities. So someone in Nairobi is more plugged in and maybe has more resources than Tuakoocha,
Oh, wow.
And I think Washeke was talking about the research as well. And the things that she's mentioned are so on point, especially about, was it the pink tax? And it reminded me of someone else that I interviewed who was hospitalized at Johns Hopkins, had fibroids, took a really long time to recover, not because the treatment was bad or anything, but because of the medication. Alikuwa tu anapewa nini 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. This is after going through, something that's equivalent to a C-section.
Wow.
And how she found out that she wasn't being medicated correctly. This is a black woman, by the way. That context is important to the story. Is when she got back to work, one of her coworkers was like, "Hey, why'd it take you so long just to come back? Or like you're back to work, but you're still in so much pain. I don't get it. Can I give you some of my pain meds?" And this lady's like, "Where are you getting pain meds from?" She's like, "Oh, I just have a bunch left over from when I had my wisdom teeth pulled out."
Wow.
So her white coworker had a bunch of Oxycontin that she could give to this black woman who was only prescribed 800 milligrams of ibuprofen,
ibuprofen,
for an invasive surgery.
Wow, this is just so shocking.
It is, but and I'm so glad we can have this conversation here, because that's, I think, where you as men come in. I had support from everybody, but it was like my brothers that could lift the trash, right? Because I couldn't, because when they cut you, your movements are limited.
Correct, yes.
And then living in an urban environment, they're the ones who had to, move the car from this side to that side. So having that poem that you read earlier, having the support of men, it comes in so handy, because there's not to be discriminatory, but honestly, when you're recovering, some of the help that you need literally is muscle. Like for me, one of the things that was so hard was just moving, especially going up and down the stairs, But I felt more confident when, a man is there in case I slip, can, lift me up type of thing.
Wow. And it's also very refreshing to also, understand that this male support is actually needed, because we live in a world where Now, because of social media, there's been a lot of these men versus women kind of like conversations, whereby sometimes, men get to a certain point where they feel like, okay, it seems like we're no longer needed here. And it's very refreshing just hearing that it's important to have men around whenever you're going through this. Washeke here is saying we need men, allies, and support system in our quest for equity in healthcare. And then Lorraine Kagwi says, nice to have great support from men. So I think that's also very important for men to hear. Now, one other thing, Wambui, as we come to a close, you were in your early 20s when this started, like happening to you. How young is this affecting women? Like how young can it be? Because for you, it was early 20s. So it is my assumption.
I think it started in primary school.
So the
pain and everything
started
when
in
she was
primary school.
when you're in primary school, when you're in high school.
They thought it was I was just anemic.
So that was like in what grade approximately? Are we talking 6th grade, to 10th grade?
I think by high school, like by the time I was in 9th grade, I was kind of like I always needed to go and
because
sleep
it's around
in the
that
nurse's
time.
office.
Yeah, because around that time, women.
So here's a question: if this is starting that early, like for parents who have daughters, like young daughters or even older ones who are approaching, what are some signs that you need to look out for, so that to know early that there's an issue, to see if it can be taken care of early? Like what are some of the signs that parents need to look out for?
Yeah, and this is tough because part of it, especially with the endo and the adenomyosis, like it's so individualized. But I think if it's period just affecting your quality of life, like you should not be going through a whole bag of tampons or pads. You shouldn't, I remember being so weak that sometimes even to cook, like I would need to sit down. Like I would bring a stool and kanikunini koroga mayai ama kukata viazi.
You need to sit down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like you shouldn't be going through these like extreme, anything extreme around anytime around your period, whether it's on your actual period or a little bit before, or sometimes it can even be a little bit after. But yeah, if you're like, for me, I never had backache, but that's another symptom that I hear a lot of women have is backache, But if it's just you honestly cannot function unless you get a lot of medicine. You're using a heating pad. You need like those a TENS. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but it like shocks you. It shocks you to kind of like reset your nerves.
What is that? Wow.
What did you call it? A TENS?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has
we're coming in contact with this for the first time.
Yeah.
Let's
like,
just be honest.
You can have those kind of like assistive devices for support, but if like you cannot function without it, there's a problem. And then also, like Monica had mentioned earlier when she called, was just as African women, you're told to endure,
Vumilia.
Yeah. Like, oh no, not like, I don't know, you're not gonna get a trophy from suffering. There's no Olympics in that. So yeah, I know too, like a lot of us sometimes we don't want to take the Tylenol, the Panadol, whatever it is, because it's like, oh, my liver or this.
Correct.
But honestly, if at the end of the day you're just gonna be so beat, just yeah, you're not in good shape. Go get it checked out, and the earlier you get it checked out, the more options you have, because again, it takes like 10 to 15 years sometimes for this to be caught, right? So the earlier you can find like, oh, Dr. Moshe is not my guy.
Dr. Ali is the guy. Okay. Yeah.
The better, right? And then also these, especially with endo, there's stages to it. It progresses. There's a stage 1 through a stage 4. So the earlier you can go and get treated, then the less severe it is, which is good. Then you don't need a fallopian tube plan.
Wow, fallopian tube plan. The other things that we are learning today.
Okay, there are people. We have a caller.
Oh, so there's a caller.
Yes.
One caller, two callers.
There is, but there's a caller, and the caller had said that raised hand. Anyway, let's just pick up the caller.
Okay.
Thank you for calling the One Mic Show. 2016. Name and where you're calling from.
Welcome to the One Mic Show.
Hi, y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is government names. I'm a Black Pearl. This is Black Pearl or Rosie or...
Black Pearl is fine.
Okay, Black Pearl works.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm calling from Clarksburg, Maryland. I wanted to share a bit of my experience, but time has gone a little bit. I just wanted to thank the guests that you have on board, Wambui. Thank you so much for highlighting this issue and kind of forcing some of us to break the silence in a way. I wanted to just add on a few things that have been shared in terms of, you shared, and I think somebody else shared about the vitamin D for us Black people. That vitamin is like the thing that is holding us together. And that was a life during my experience. I did share on one of the comments that when I was pregnant, I was also pregnant with fibroids as well as pregnant with a human being. And by month 3 or 4, I was in physical therapy because my entire body was swollen and had to wear the compression stockings, which I couldn't wear at some point. And it was summer. So don't ever have a summer pregnancy if you can avoid it. But outside of that, when it came to time for delivery, my fibroids didn't really go away. One of them necrotized, but a couple of them ended up blocking my, birth canal. So I ended up having a C-section.
Okay.
And then it was time to put me back together. The doctors could not, and I had to give authorization under, I almost say under duress. Like I was heavily dedicated, but they needed for me to do authorization to do an emergency myomectomy because they ended up having moved to fibroids, which were the size of those of us who grew up in Kenya. Maembedodo, you remember those Maembedodos from Mombasa?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were about that size.
Wow.
And they had to take those. I have studied or figured out, and so it was kind of one of those things where we are like, we are praying to God that she survives, but this could kill her because we didn't know what it was attached to, what they were attached to, where they were held, or whatever. I survived, but survived enough.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you for
Sante
sharing
Sana
that
Black Pearl, are you there?
Yeah, I think
I think we lost her.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Ama pengine ni
Signal ilikuwa nani?
Yeah.
need bundles.
Yeah, maybe ni bundles. I think she's on Safaricom. But Wambui.
No, but that's just such a stressful pregnancy, right? Like, regardless of what birth it is, that's a time of joy. You're growing your family, and then for us, like it has ties to legacy and things like that in our culture, right? And to get that far and not know how your baby will survive, especially after she said one fibroid has necrotized. So what that means is it had broken apart like on its own. It was kind of starting to dissolve. And a lot of people have written in the comment section about that because they share the same, they fight for resources between, a fetus and this thing. So it's honestly, it's really just harming us so much. I was actually thinking about maybe putting together a documentary called We Are, and then in brackets, the word not. We are not Eve.
We are not Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of that expectation of just to be able to give birth easily, but then also at the same time, Eve was told, hey, you're going to struggle a little bit with this.
Okay.
And it's something that, we're seeing. It's just that people are not talking about it, but I'm glad that they trust what you guys have built here so much to be able to
in the conference.
call in and share their experiences and look for solutions. And there's solutions, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide, with even having people like Elsie on.
Okay, all right. And I think this is definitely a conversation that's gonna continue. But before we let you go, Wambui, there were so many other things that we wanted to talk about, but I think this story was so powerful that it took precedence over everything else. So we'll still have another conversation another day, because there were so many other things about media literacy that we wanted to talk about. But we want to know a little bit about your future. You're also an author. Talk to us about that.
Allah?
Yeah? Talk to us about that.
She writes children's books.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you so much for this opportunity. Like I shared earlier, I love even the slogan for this show, Our Voice, Our Stories. And one place that I feel like we're not really telling our stories is from childhood, right? Like, that's one place where our stories are being told for us. Like, I grew up in a time where Lion King was
a big deal.
Yeah. And wazungu wanafurahi ati wanajua Simba, and us were just like, how do you know that word or whatever? Like,
Hakuna Matata.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even you saying that, I'm like, DJ Mosh, can you play that song?
Hakuna Matata.
It means no worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a space for our children to grow up with their stories and to be affirmed. So I came up with this idea. It's a book series called The Adventures of Kaloi, and basically it's kind of maybe the equivalent let me not do that. I'm like, why am I putting an American equivalent when I just said we need our own stories?
Mm-hmm.
Look at me catching myself. No, but it's a bunch of kids who are in their neighborhood and they're exploring and they're getting to know life, but it's through their eyes as kids. So I will read you guys a snippet.
Okay.
By all means.
Okay.
Is it like a bedtime story?
Yeah, you can close your eyes.
Wow, Ali.
Okay.
Okay. In a neighborhood where everyone knew the sound of the bicycle bell and whose uncle made the best grilled maize, Kaloi ruled the playground with her questions, her slingshot, and her unstoppable curiosity. Kaloi wasn't like other kids. She noticed everything. She asked things grown-ups didn't always want to answer, and she always wanted to get to the bottom of things. One afternoon, Kaloi and her crew were hanging near the swings when Mr. Temba shuffled past the fence, slow, careful, leaning on a cane. Why does he walk like that? Bubo giggled. Jomo grinned. He looks like he's dancing in slow motion. Kaloi smirked. Maybe he's training for the slowest race on earth. Even Mulongi chuckled. He usually didn't laugh at people. They didn't think he could hear. But something else did. The next day, a strange sound echoed through the trees. Squawk! He's training for the slowest race. The crew froze. A bright green parrot stared down from the rooftop, bobbing its head. Look at the old man walk, it squawked again. Mbuso stepped back. No way. That's what we said. Jomo's eyes went wide. Is that Mr. Temba's bird? Tula nodded slowly. My cousin says it follows people, like a spy. Kaloi narrowed her eyes. A talking spy bird? She looked up at the parrot. It tilted its head. Then it took off.
Wow.
I'm hoping this book series does.
Wow. That right there.
This Kaloi sounds like somebody I used to read about. Do you remember those books, Moses and the Thieves?
No, they used to be.
Moses
We used to
and-
have those books.
Remember?
And then there used to be these other small books with short stories. So that right there is
Yeah,
very amazing.
it's- yeah.
Once you have those books up for production, I will be, I will be your first customer.
Hey.
Let me know.
At least you got 3 sales here.
You've got 3 guaranteed sales here.
3 sales here.
And that story, the way you were telling it, I felt I was listening to NPR. You told it in that story.
Like a voice.
When forget about Michelle Martin. Let's talk about Wambui Kamau.
Yes.
When Wambui Kamau is
Wambui Kamau.
Yes. Like when yes. Like when she's telling her story. And some of these stories. And by the way, you can just go Google Wambui Kamau WYPR. The website puts those stories, all the stories she's done, which are multiple. There are tons.
Many, yeah.
Because I was like, I'm gonna listen to all of them. I was like, no, there's no way I can finish them. They're very nice, short, tight stories, like 4 minutes long, but very rich. Like the story you did when you went out to the Nyamachoma event in Baltimore. Very, very amazing story. Like when you're hearing people talk in the background, I'm like, wow, this is so surreal. It's so amazing. And then it's also relevant to an American who's listening to it, which is part of the richness of these stories that you listen to on public radio. Of course, today we didn't have much time to talk about public radio. People have already booked you for a second, even without telling us. You've already been booked.
In other words,
for a second show.
So much.
Monica is saying, Monica Gadaya is saying, thanks Wambui Kamau and team, and please come again. And then Wairimo likes the story, beautiful, love the creativity with the names. And then of course the other comments that were coming in earlier. Tanya says, sadly missed most of the conversation. They are great treatments, though we must advocate for ourselves in the healthcare system. And then here
go back up
Elsie Wandera,
right after Nini.
Yes. So Elsie Wanderapa says, pain that immobilizes you deserves medical attention. Let's normalize going to seek medical attention so as not to delay diagnosis. Denormalize carrying pain like a crown. So that's very, very important.
We'll scroll up. She mentioned something over there that I think is also pertinent. We should mention.
Okay, let me go back up and see. I think about the conference. There's I do see that right now. There was a lot of comments that I missed here. So here it's saying there's the first menopause conference next week. I'll be there. It's a national event. I'll share with Wambui the details. It will be streaming. Okay, I think that will be.
That should be interesting.
That should be very interesting. Yeah. And then Elsie Wandera says we are working pharmacies. No hate, but it's the truth.
Talking about having medication at home, and you get it, and so and it's interesting. People share. That thing of sharing.
But it's interesting in Kenya. In Kenya, like people, you will get diagnosed and treated even at a pharmacy or even at home. There was a time when I had some very strange homa that had immobilized me for like 2 days. My uncle came and said, forget about hizo dawa zako za America. Went to the pharmacy, got me something, and like magic.
Yep.
Iyo homa ilienda. Akasema, those things you came with from America. So I don't know, I don't know how it works, but I think it's adaptation.
They also use more powerful meds.
There's certain dawas here
that you cannot buy over the counter.
Yeah. It's a prescription.
Yeah.
Somebody is asking, who is Wambui's favorite NPR host and why?
Ooh. Ndo hiyo hapo.
Speaking of, while she's thinking about that, so somebody else is not wants a second opportunity, a second shot.
Yeah,
because we did not really complete what we had intended to say.
Yes,
I'm not gonna call out his name, Bandio, but somebody was not. Is kind of not.
Oh, you're
happy.
not gonna call out his name, Bandio.
No, I'm not gonna call out his name.
Okay,
but it's kind of not.
I did not hear the name.
So, who's your favorite NPR host and why?
Okay, so I'm going to say Aisha Rasco.
Oh, Aisha Rasco.
Yeah. is hosts on Sundays.
I know Aisha Rascal.
Yeah, and the reason I'm going to say her is because media, especially broadcast media, it's a tough business. When I first started, they used to tell me like, "Hey, Wambui, this weekend, make sure you drink a couple whiskeys and smoke cigarettes," because my voice just wasn't deep enough, you know?
What?
Yeah, because like in this country, in the U.S., when broadcast started, it started on
With
radio
men.
with like Walter Cronkite, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Good luck, like that kind of thing. So there's that male bias, like when a male says something, it's more authoritative.
authority.
It's more credible, it's more believable. And even a lot of women who have made it in broadcast, like even Oprah, she has a deeper register, you know?
True.
So I would say Aisha Roscoe just because, you know, she doesn't fit in that traditional mold that whether it's listeners or the industry likes or is used to, and not only with her pitch and her tone, but even with her accent, right? Like you can tell that she's
I love that.
from the South type of thing. Yeah. So that's how I would answer that question. And I want to thank you guys too for even listening to my stories. I really appreciate it. The one that you're shouting out that more people should go listen to with the Kenyan barbecue is a great story about us telling our stories, but also how that can be like misconstrued, right? Because there were people who listened to it and they were like, oh, you know, why would you do that? Now they know our numbers. Now that you've given us visibility, you shouldn't have done that. So there were people who
were telling you that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Kenyans who were very concerned about that. But then at the same time, my listeners, who most of them tend to be Americans, were like, Wambui, oh my gosh, how do you guys sell that anti-aging collagen enriching goat soup?
You mean dufu? Dufu.
Yeah. They should have seen the kichwa in
But what type of mentality is that where, I mean,
no, unajua in every marketplace
there's
always that person.
There's always that one. There's always that one uncle.
There's always that one person. What I always try to tell people is that you know, like if you're not into the progress that's being made, do not interfere with it. You know, just stay aside. Nobody's forced to come on air or say something.
But again, also, we've always talked about really being part of the community where you are. You're not in Kenya right now.
No, you're here.
You're here.
Yeah.
And it is very important to know what's going on because it's either you're on the menu or you're at the table or you're on the menu.
And you know what people don't understand?
You have to understand
when you get a media visibility, like on public radio, that's when, for example, like a politician will pay attention.
Yes.
There's a very big Kenyan population in Baltimore or in Montgomery County. So I need to go find them. Because apparently, you know, like I did not make it to that event, but apparently there were quite a number of politicians who were in attendance. You know, like local Baltimore politicians.
The mayor was supposed to come.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I wasn't. I didn't make it.
The mayor was supposed to come.
Oh, wow.
From the stories.
Mayor Scott?
No.
The Baltimore County mayor, not the Baltimore. I always keep forgetting.
But Baltimore County doesn't have a mayor.
No,
it has a county executive.
It's
a county executive.
Kathy Klausmeyer?
No.
Yes. She's
Johnny
Johnny left. It's Kathy Klausmeyer.
I think she's the one who was supposed to be coming.
Okay.
I know they had.
And just to provide numbers,
to
didn't Baba Mora lose like about 2,000?
Like number of
to
votes.
Klausmeyer, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
It was about 1,000 something.
Yeah.
Numbers matter.
Numbers matter.
They sure do.
Numbers matter.
They sure do.
Yeah, numbers matter. Yeah. So
I'm not even lying about this, but like later this week, I ended up going to cover another story where a couple representatives went to tour the Baltimore ICE facility. So it was
Mkwezi Mfume and
Senator Van Hollen.
Van Hollen, yes.
And Sarah Elfreth right? And it took a while for them to come out of their tour, so we were kind of just, you know, standing waiting. And I was really surprised when one of the senator's aides was like, "Hey, Wambui, I'm so glad you did that story because part of that story pointed out that a couple things. So one is just like how you were saying, how Americans understand it. They were like, wow, we can't believe you guys are this organized to, you know, find a location and raise this much money and still celebrate your culture." So she was like, yeah, I'm from out of state and I've heard about, you know, immigrant festivals where the numbers are going down, but you, like, listening to that gave us a number of like, wow, this is actually happening in Maryland, and they could kind of like pinpoint where in Maryland, you know, because Senator Van Hollen is very involved with a lot of things, of course, but he was the person who really fought for Kilmar Abrego Garcia to come back. So he's really, you know, trying to make sure like how immigrants are being treated, because there's what the administration says and then there's what his constituents say. So if you're not participating or like just practicing your civic things, which is one of the reasons I was saying, like, reach out to us with news tips, let us know what's happening, but also do it responsibly. Don't just be like, oh, the pothole in my street is messed up but the one down there isn't, and it's like, where are you? I have no idea where you are. But no, just to I just wanted to like support your point, Ali, where you were saying that people in power do listen, and it also gives them information, and it's not always like selfish motives, like, oh, I can win now because I know those people and I can go there and I can spread my message to them, but also a better landscape of what's really happening on the ground. Wow.
And Washeke is asking, where can we buy the book?
Ooh.
I think she said when the book was ready.
So you let us know when it's ready.
Yes, I will announce that.
Okay, so you have a fourth, like make a list, like make sure you call them back. Book? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the grand unveiling of the book will be right here
on the show.
On the People's Kamkunji.
Yes.
So is it illustrated?
And you'll come for another reading.
Because Ali is an artist.
Yes. Me, I like books with pictures.
He can draw a face for the main character.
Me, I can draw those stick figures, like and that's the best that I can. But I like books with pictures
and graphs.
So then Warimo here saying beautiful, love the creativity with the names. That was on the story. And then Bakora Panasema Mayo shut down without Harambe Star gig with Zambia. Okay, Bakora is on a whole different wavelength.
Chan.
And then Bakora anasema ona Wambu anasema watu wavute siga ndio wakubalike kwa media back in the day, learning Jim Crow ama the one last thing that I don't want to let you go before you answer is you've watched multiple episodes of the One Mic Show. If you are the producer, what is the one or two things that you'd like to see different or you'd like to change?
Bandia will catch feelings.
Yeah.
Wait, kwa nini unasema hizo vitu aseme on camera?
No. Yeah, go ahead. No, that's please. No, say it loud. Say it loud, and don't worry. Even if you hurt our feelings, it's okay.
No, I would love to see like a battle of the DJs.
Wow. Okay.
I know you guys are so steeped in politics and things like that, but also at the same time, it's Friday, and I don't know. I just think that would be so fun to.
Wow.
Okay. You're looking at the DJ.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're looking.
Over to you.
Yeah. No. Over to you, DJ.
We have only one restriction.
Yeah.
It's only one restriction.
Yeah.
Copyright.
Copyrights. Yeah. The platforms don't like it. Yeah. We used to play a lot of music. This was a very music-heavy show.
I would bring in DJs. We used to have DJs like DJ Sunny has been here.
You see that? That used to be our rundown over there.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah. Otieno V. Man, we've had DJs in here.
Frank.
Diomi.
If there's a platform, is there a platform out there that just allows?
There's a platform that allows it. Yes.
Live.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a platform.
Or what if you challenged it, like you can only use music that's been released to audio libraries?
When you say audio libraries, you mean like music clubs? Is that what you mean?
Like, for
Or-
example, for me, right, when I need to use music for a sound,
story.
like there's the ones that already have the copyrights. Sometimes it's artists that maybe nobody knows, or it's just the instrumentals.
That can be a challenge, but it's not untenable. But it may water down what some DJs may be able to do in that type of context, because folks, as DJs are kind of like, they are stuck on some things, and like you specialize in a certain area.
True.
Most Kenyan DJs are wide, like they play everything, right? And then, so it also depends on who it is that you're engaging with in this so-called battle, or even if it's a presentation or the person's coming to DJ and play. And normally what we use here on the show is that we will play East African music, and we start at Kenya, stop at Kenya, quote unquote, right? So we promote Kenyan music. That's our thing. You're not going to find us. I mean, if you go back to any of our shows, you will never ever hear us play music from anything outside East Africa. It always starts from Kenya.
I
and
love
then,
that.
So,
Promoting our own.
We are promoting our own, because we've realized
We're telling
that
our own
out
stories.
there, there's, out there, there's, people not doing that. But the window with which we can play this music without us getting penalized or
muted.
or whatever, we've realized that window is so small, it can't go above even 15 minutes. It's like something, and then even how long you play the song for matters.
Right.
So like when you play the songs, you have to like get to a certain point and then be like, boom. And if somebody hears the song, likes it enough, maybe they'll Shazam it or something, and hears like, okay, then they'll go look for the artist. But Kenya has a ton of music, and the music is wide. It's a really, really good music. So yeah, that's the biggest restriction we have is the copyright. But but we hear you.
All right. Good answer. You scooted away from the question, but we appreciate it. We appreciate it. That's okay. I'll catch you another time.
No,
but I can tell you're good at thinking quick on your feet. So kudos to that. Uno Mike, wahenga
walinena, kilicho na mwanzo hakina budi kuwa na mwisho. Meli imetia nanga. We are about to wrap this puppy up. Mikaochi is not here.
Yeah, so let's start with DJ Mosh. Fire
that's a Mosh.
I think you guys are picking on me, but it's fine. Wambui, thank you so much
Never ever.
for gracing us with your presence, and then bringing to light these untold life stories. And this, to me, I think, like Alia said, is we're going to bring this series back. We kind of had started, but then we veered kidogo, and now we're like, it's like this show has been morphing, it's been growing, and it's been meandering, and we need to bring back more of this, because indeed, for us as men, we are the supporting cast, right? So it's either you're going to be affected or infected, right? And you could be both. That you have one who is infected, then you are affected, right? So we just basically have to learn how to carry the load, and then also be able to see the signs, because you tend to be the parent, to be the partner, to be the brother, to be the son. Where are you supporting, and where can you help? And maybe you're the one who's going to be that caregiver who goes to hospital, holding your sister's hands. Like maybe, she doesn't have a partner. So you're the one who's holding her hands, and you're going to the doctor and they're in pain, and you're the one who's their advocate talking for them. And that's something that a lot of us don't do a lot of. But when somebody is in dire need, when they go to the doctor, they can't think on their feet. You're the person who can do all this thinking. But if you don't know what to say, how to say it, and how to understand what's being given to you, you may not lead them in the right direction to get the type of treatment or outcome that these people need. So it's good for us to understand, to get a grip, to get to know, and also what signs to look out for. And those things help us become much better at understanding, the females who are in our lives. So I thank you very much for bringing this back, for bringing this up to light, and good luck with the book. My suggestions with the book, I would say animate, illustrate, draw it, make it a cartoon series and let's put it on public TV that is not so public, but hey, and we put it out there. You know, there's a ton of and children's content always sells.
Yeah.
Always.
And
you
you have
never go wrong with it.
And you have a number 5 buyer, Lauren Kagwe.
Hey.
Yeah, so you already have
Bakora
5
also, I
buyers.
think I
This is
said that, right?
amazing.
Oh,
Got buyers, got
Bakora
an
also said he's
illustrator.
buying.
Bakora said he was gonna buy.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Voiceover.
Hey.
So then you have 6 buyers. I'm gonna translate it for you to Kiswahili.
That's 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's
Bongo kids
also
were coming for you.
yeah.
huh?
So I think that's very important. You know, like for those of us who like teach our kids Kiswahili, we're looking for Kiswahili books to give our kids
They're not that many.
to give our kids to read. I'm encouraging like people to actually do that. The other thing is that I know now in Kenya, a lot of kids are watching the same like cartoons that kids over here are watching, which is which is not a very good thing. So I think people need also the animated, not just the books. So I think you can start with a book and then slowly graduate
to
animated content. All right.
I received that.
Give us your parting shot.
No, I'm just so thankful for all of you having me here today. Listening to my story. I really appreciate it. And just all the love I've received, even from your audience. And like Omosh said, like being able to learn about this, because for me, when I reemerged after my hibernation, people are like, "Oh, did you get married? Oh, were you on safaris?" Like I was like, I wish I was out there doing all these adventurous things. Like I needed a grabber to get things, So even just that disconnect, and when you're going through these things, a lot of people say a lot of insensitive things.
Yeah.
And I think just having this conversation will help people, think twice. So for me, I'm just so glad that we were able to talk about all these things, and I look forward to you guys continuing this thread.
Okay. All right. Wambui, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. We, like a little backstory here. I met Wambui Kamau for the first time. When was it? Was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago at the Sankofa event where I was making a presentation about pre-colonial Kenya. I knew about Wambui.
By hearing about,
by listening to her on YPR.
Me too, yes.
Yeah, and we'd actually discussed about Wambui here, but we were like, oh, you go.
Because I even asked Jesse, do you know Wambui?
Yeah.
Jesse Karango.
Jesse Karango, yeah.
Hook us up.
Yeah, so we were like, she's in YPR, so we don't know whether she'll be interested in coming onto our platform, but we had a conversation. We had, I think we met for the first time and we had like a 30-minute conversation. We had a very long conversation. Back when people were wondering, kwani hawa watu walikuwa wanajuana from before. And right there and then, like we had this conversation and I told, like once I established that she's first of all tuned into our platform and she likes the work that we did. And right there and there, we struck a deal that she's going to come to the show. And 2 weeks later, here she is. So we appreciate that. That's why it's good actually being out there in the community. There's actually another Sankofa event this Sunday, same place on Georgia Avenue. I'm going to share the details to the people in the DMV. We are moving to now post-colonial Kenya, and the conversations are going to continue. But again, Wambui, thank you so much. I think the biggest value add in this conversation, besides just the definitions and knowing what this is understanding the emotional toll that this takes. Because I think most people, especially guys, have no idea. Like where now you have to think of very simple things, like who's going to help me take the trash outside. Simple day-to-day stuff. Not even the complex stuff, just simple day-to-day stuff. Who's going to help me do this? Who's going to help me do that? So I think if like any relative, any friend, any close person who's going through this, please just give a call and just make yourself available. Just make yourself available, even if anasema hakuna kitu, just make yourself available. Because you never know what kind of help that they'll need. And of course, this is going to be a continuing series. You know, like there's Elsie from Nairobi, and then we also have the Bay Area team that wants to talk about perimenopause and menopause. So I think that's also another big topic that we're going to cover here in September. The other thing is that we're going to take a short break, you know, like, because at a PSCC, we need to enjoy the summer.
We need to recharge.
Yeah, we need to recharge. So we're going to take a short break. We will be back, I think, is it September 12th? Yeah, we're going to be back on Friday, September 12th. So you need to find out what you're going to be doing with your time, with your Fridays. We know we are here with you on Fridays, but between now and September 12th, you need to find out what you'll be doing on your Fridays. Na kwa hayo machache, yote ambaye anataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile ile 1-800 mteule. Na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu, na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule yule wa Masai, because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui, na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Jerry, Daddy loves you. Nemo, Daddy loves you. Until next week. Well, until the 12th. Or until the next time.
And Washeke's daughter, buyer number 6. So I don't know whether that's buyer number 7.
That's like buyer number 7 up on number 8.
Yeah. Okay, now my comments bado zinakuja. From Kenya nauliza, what happened to mental health before perimenopause? This will come back when we come back on when is it gonna be? On September
12th.
The 12th. And then Upper Wairimu. So I think number 8, put me down for the book 2. So you already have 8 total buyers already. Meaning ingekuwa wewe.
Kafloat.
Yeah.
DJ Machachari. Oh, until the 12th.
Until the 12th of September.
September.
Yeah.
Be blessed.
I'm going crazy, my sweet mommy. Umenishika design unafuata